accepted the dark. I was born in it.
Yeah, man. We are live. It's a Thursday night reality check. And we are going to get deep tonight on cults. I think this is going to be an interesting discussion. If anybody wants to join the panel, please let me know in the chat. And I can either post a link or you send me an email at reallifeletters@gmail.com so I can verify you, or send me a message on Instagram or Twitter so I know who you are, just to verify you. We don't want to get booted for the pee-pee trolls, we call them. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a good night. Of course, I got my cult gear on. I have to look like a cult leader tonight. So that's what it's about. It's about cults. I want to welcome Primal Man. Primal Man, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing great. Perfect.
Yeah, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Caduceus, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, ready for a few ritual sacrifices. I already saw you got your Palpatine hood on, so I'm ready to have some fun.
And welcome back, Mr. Finn.
Yeah, baby. Good to be back. Good to be here.
USA, brother.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a long journey, but I'm here. I'm safe. The family's safe. We're all good. And so glad to be back.
Real quick, go ahead and tell people about yourself real quick, because we have a lot of new viewers probably since you've been on. So if anybody doesn't know what you do, tell everybody how you could. I do have a link for your channel in the description of the video, but tell everybody what you do. This way they know who you are.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity. So yeah, my name is Mr. Finn. I spent nearly 13 years in Brazil teaching English at all levels. And in that process, I had also seen natives of the language not articulating themselves or expressing themselves very well. So what I do in my channel is I try to help people to be better, more confident English speakers with tongue twisters, or people that maybe make simple grammar mistakes, clarify some grammar. And I just try to make English fun, the learning it, understanding it, and expressing yourself in what is now the global language. And that's what I do.
Yeah, so you guys check out English with Mr. Finn. Check him out, man, and subscribe to his channel and check him out. And if you know anybody that needs help with English or foreign languages, he's the guy. He's the go-to guy right there. So, but yeah, welcome back, man. It's been a while. It's been
good to be back. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've been on the panel.
Yeah, awesome. I'm stoked that you're here. Yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about cults. And I think the first thing that comes to mind when people think of a cult is religion, religious cults. Now, growing up myself, when I think of a cult, I think of the Branch Davidians, which would be the David Koresh, that whole scene in Waco, Texas. I think of Jim Jones down in, where was that again now? Jim Jones?
Guyana.
Yeah, Guyana. Where they, that's where the whole thing, like we talked earlier, drinking the Kool-Aid. That's where that came from. So, but I also think there's secular cults. And when I say secular cults, people that latch on to, we'll say, a certain person and take their every word as gold. Like this is the way it is. I don't know why we do that. And I think it's the lack of independent thought and free thinking. We always want a magic pill, or we want somebody to save us. And we all know that saying, right? No one's coming to save you. And that's true. Unless it's Jesus, we'll say that right there. Or what is it? Yahuwah? Is that what it is, Primal?
Yahuwah. Yahweh. Yeshua.
But in fact, I want to give a shout out to somebody who commented in my last stream today. It was some guy named Tom and Jerry. And it was kind of funny because I usually don't respond, but he asked me, am I working with the authorities? And I said, yeah. I said, what did I tell him? God and the truth are my authorities. And he responded, I think, are you working with the feds? And he says, are you tracking people in the manosphere? So anyways, I'm not. So I'm not sure how that came about. I'm a carpenter, so that's what I do. But I just thought that was kind of funny. I usually don't engage with that, but I don't know. Maybe somebody thinks I am a spy. I don't know. But I just wanted to kind of confront that because I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know if it, I asked him if he was a troll and he said no. But also, the channel or whatever was made about 6 days ago. So that kind of puts a little context to his comment. So, but yeah. So I do want to give a shout out to all our law enforcement, military, even our federal agents. I back them. I do. I back the people that protect us. So, and I'm not one of them. Although I did respond with a quote from the movie Taken. I have a specific set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills.
That's I don't know if he caught that, but I did respond like that. But I thought it was kind of funny. But Tom and Jerry, thanks for the little interaction this afternoon. It was kind of funny while I was at work. So, I was at my desk looking at reports in my federal office. So,
yeah. Well, if you're a federal agent, you probably are disappointed with how boring my file is.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty damn funny. But anyways, I just thought that was great. So, but anyways, yeah, let's dive into cults. I'm going to read something here real quick. I'm going to read the definition of a cult, and this really has we'll say it starts out with a religious context. Okay, this is 7 signs that you're in a cult. Now, I really like the first one because the first one really will surpass religion as far as I'm concerned, but it's opposing critical thinking. Okay, that's the first one. Isolating members and penalizing them for leaving. That's a big one right there for me. Emphasizing special doctrines outside Scripture. Again, this is a religious context. Seeking inappropriate loyalty to their leaders. Now, to me, a lot of this, and again, a lot of this, if we keep an eye on this right now, a lot of this is going to make sense too when we talk about other types of cults, we'll call it. Dishonoring the family unit. Again, that's a religious context. Crossing biblical boundaries of behavior versus sexual purity and personal ownership. And then number 7 is separation from the church. So there's a lot of different things that go into a cult. So I'm going to go to Primal Man first, and let me know what your definition and your thoughts are on, we'll say, a religious cult first, and then we'll call it a secular cult.
I like what you said when you was defining it earlier about the threat or fear of getting kicked out or excommunicated.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing that stood out to me. I think that's what really is the heart and soul and muscle of a cult, is its threat to remove, or its ability, its strong arm to remove people over a particular threat, whether it be hell in a religious context, or whether it be fraud or slander or defamation or whatever on a secular level. But the fear of getting kicked out and threatened is to me is like the driving force of a cult.
Yeah,
It's the heart and soul.
Yeah. I want to welcome David Little. David Little, welcome.
how you doing, fellas? Primal, you hit it on the button right there, man. I was in a church that operated just like that. How you doing, Mr. Finn? I'll be contacting you soon. I need to learn some Spanish, so for my travels as well.
Spanish, I can't help you with. I speak Portuguese.
Close enough. Nah, what's up, Caduceus? Tony, you are the man. How y'all doing, fellas? I just want to say one thing, though. You hit it on the button right there. Like, I was actually in a church that, even though it was non-apostolic, quote unquote, they had a very cult of personality. The hill songs and the indoctrination, the emotionalism, speaking in tongues.
They call it charismatic or charismatic.
Charismatic churches, yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead. Finish what your thought.
No, go ahead, Caduce. I'm done. That was good.
Okay, you're done. Well, I was gonna say that's only half of the picture there, because like getting out. It's more of like if you're critically thinking against a cult,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you're not getting good answers, you probably would want to leave that situation anyway. It's more that they got your family, they got everyone around you, and you become handcuffed for leaving.
Like Scientology.
So you're trapped.
Like Mormonism or Latter-day Saints in Utah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, like a lot of options. Yeah, I know some. I went to the Temple Square and they got those buildings where they just got files on everyone that
Mhm.
goes to their bishop and tells them everything. So they got all the dirt on everyone in that LDS. So it's just like you're trapped. It's
Yeah.
not that. It's more that you can't leave.
Definitely Scientology. Definitely Scientology.
Well, you know what? When you talked about characteristics, that was the next thing I was going to read is what are the characteristics of a cult leader, okay? A cult leader needs to be charismatic, and he needs to appear to be motivated by a noble higher purpose. To be successful, he needs to appear congruent with that image. He's bigger than life. He makes people feel stuff. He inspires people, and he seems sincere, motivated by the higher purpose, not by personal gain. Again, I want everybody to remember this because I'm going to bring up some names, man, tonight for sure. So remember what I said right now. Okay?
Gotcha.
So yeah, let's go over that. A charismatic personality. Let's say like for me again, like Jim Jones down in Guyana?
Yeah, no.
Guyana. Yeah.
That guy had a charismatic personality, obviously to draw people in. Think about what you have to do to suck people in. I mean, think
Oh
about it.
man. Gotta
Think
make. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
I mean, what's the number one thing as a cult leader? What's the number one thing? I'm asking the panel, I'll ask the chat this too. What's the number one thing as a cult leader that you need? I'm curious of what the panel thinks.
You need to have what you said, like that charisma, that draw,
Yeah.
bigger than life, so to speak.
The miracle story.
Yeah, you gotta have something people are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
miracle.
okay, I'm glad you said that, Caduceus, because I was basically going to say that have something that people are looking for, but the key is to convince them that they're looking for it.
Yep.
Follow me?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the key.
I think a lot of times too, maybe, and I got to speak in generals here, but I would say a lot of them, they're a lot of like con artists, so they pry on victims or people who they can kind of sense those people who are lacking something or have a hole. And speaking about those more religious cults, right? They all have to do something with Jesus, so they take on this persona of a spiritual leader, very, very knowledgeable, lots of wisdom, like we talked about charisma. But the people that they draw in, I believe, are
Weak-willed.
exactly people that have this weak will, people that are broken, have a broken past, and it's easier for them to suck them in and give them that hope that we all need. We all, I believe it's part of human nature. We all have to believe in something. So I think that's a big part of it too, about these leaders. They seek and they attract those people, and you could say recruit them in and extend it further from there.
Yeah. Like they see, I only hear from God is one of the classic statements. Through me you have to go through the word, through God or whatnot. I'm the angel of the church, or I know the vision. It's usually those red flags that pop up at big time with those charismatic leaders.
Yeah, we'll get into. I saw Self-Made. Good to see you, man. Where are you
Yeah.
at? Here, good to see you. Yeah, occults. Now, occult. I guess the occult and a cult are obviously two different things. I think when we hear the cult, that means devil worship, correct?
Yeah.
Correct in that? Yeah. So I
I think
definitely
a cult. I think a cult would be like the dark. It's like
Yeah,
the
the
dark side.
occult. The occult is like the secret society kind of
Yeah.
thing. Those rituals. That's the occult.
Yeah.
Not cults.
The unspeakable practices.
yeah. So we'll have to have Guns. You got my You got
Oh,
my
yeah.
link I sent, so we'll have to have Guns talk about this. I think he might have something to say on that. I'm just curious if I'm right, Uncle Guns. So, but yeah, we got what did Woody say? Is the Pope the Pope the Pope
He said the
is the
Pope.
Pope a cult leader or an idol? Um,
I would
and
say an idol.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely an idol.
the Pope is just a religious leader. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Opportunistic predators. Good one,
Totally.
Peg. Yeah. Yeah. Hidden
And
in
he'll-
sight.
oh.
Absolutely. Uncle Gun says, don't worry, I'm coming on soon.
And you know what's funny, Tony? They always have some kind of story. They always have this, like the one guy served under years ago. He got out of prison, you know, he had like eight felonies, whatever, and God opened the door for things in his life. I can do that for you. Then you come to find out we're supporting his rap career. It was wild. But yeah, there's some crazy stuff you can see out there.
Yeah, I want to talk about too. I might as well go into it right now. Is about Jesse Lee Peterson. He's been accused of being a cult leader.
It's far from that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's oh geez, this is a tough one because I think Jesse is such a powerful figure and he doesn't even realize it.
Well,
Influential.
from what I see, like from what we met when I met him on air, like he seemed like a pretty reasonable guy that just kind of tells people to like
how it is,
live life, like how the world and how like God kind of like pushes them towards, and that's not really culty, but I do see a cult following from a lot of people that identify as his supporters, and that's not really a reflection on Jesse. It's more about the people that form kind of a culty, where they take the quotes out of context and make an idol.
I agree with that. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Simon for jumping on last Saturday night stream.
I
know we had quite a battle. I think there were some battles in Discord, and I'll apologize to him for the comment I made about him. I will say that publicly because I think that's what men do. And I probably shouldn't have made that comment. I think I reacted instead of responding after looking at a Jesse Lee Peterson Discord, and somebody was talking shit about me. So I think that was my reaction. But I think Simon means well. I don't know much about him. I wish him well, and I appreciate him coming on last Saturday night. It was I called that shit show number 2 because that was a 5-hour. It was a 5-hour fun time, and I appreciate everybody who spent time watching for sure. But yeah, let's get back to Jesse. And the reason I said that is because when Jesse was on, I think it was right before Christmas. Got a little clip I'm going to play, and I actually asked him these same questions. So I want you guys to hear his response real quick. And let me play the first one. So it's with just me and him at the beginning. And here we go. Now, when you say judgment, should we judge people? Do we? Oh, sorry, wrong one. Let me. Here it is, right here.
I'm always trying to turn people away from me and back to God. And I always tell people, I don't know, always been, but don't let any human being, no matter if it's a preacher, the teacher, whomever, don't put anyone above you. No one is better. No one knows anything that you don't know, because we all know the truth. We just have to look within and live from there. And when you hear the real truth, the witness inside of you come alive, and it witnesses that is the truth. That's how you know it's from God, not because I said it, but because you can see it yourself. And so the last thing I desire in my life for anyone to put me over them, or I've never put anyone over me. I wasn't raised that way, first of all, but now I understand the spiritual aspect. I would never put anyone over me, and I never want to be over anyone else, because first of all, Nobody want to deal with that. Well, I don't, because people are a mess. And then I don't want to be their leaders. I want God, the same God that's leading me, to lead them. So I'm always trying to point people back to themselves. But in their mind, they see me as an authority figure, or they see me as that. And then when they see a flaw, they judge me as though I make them see me in a different way. And that's the last thing I want.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have me in a position like that, and I can't tell that they see me that way until they turn on me, and then they'll blame me for the way they felt, and I didn't even know they were feeling that way.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is, Jesse? Why do people turn on you? Because they look at you. I think maybe they look at you as their idol, or
yeah, they have me in a higher position than they have themselves, and they, instead of letting God be their God, they see me like a God. Even though I don't see myself, I have to pray all the time. I watch. I have to do everything that everybody else have to do, even though I know God is speaking through me and using me, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if He didn't make that happen. But I see myself as I see anyone else. I don't see myself below or above anyone. But in their mindset, because they don't understand the deception of the thoughts will have put me there in their mind, and I'm thinking that maybe they don't realize it until they disagree with me about something, and all of a sudden they see me the same as someone else, but they blame me for the way they see it. They'll say, "Oh, you brainwashed me, or you did this," when I wasn't brainwashing them. I didn't even know they felt that way, but they're caught up in their imagination and they don't realize.
Yeah.
Well, would a cult leader say that? Let's put it that way. I mean, that's a pretty deep explanation. And to me, I don't like using the word heartfelt anymore for that phrase, but that is heartfelt from Jesse. I mean, it really is. I have another clip I'll play in a minute. So let's go around the panel and let's get your thoughts on that.
Well, I would say a cult leader would definitely not talk like that, nor say that. A cult leader is got to show, it's all about image, and got to show strength, got to show command, got to show control, got to, all knowing. And I think that's one of the draws that bring a lot of the followers to them. So no way would a cult leader speak like that.
Brian?
I'm gonna take an interesting take, and by no means do I think Jesse is a self-proclaimed cult leader. I do think sometimes, like Caduceus was mentioning, his followers put him on a pedestal. They don't, Jesse might have met some sort of realization to him, and all of a sudden it's like Jesse is the only voice of reason that matters in the world. And like Jesse says, they're not looking at within, they're putting all that responsibility on him. But I'll take a different approach. That's not a reflection on Jesse, like Caduceus said, but I'll take a different approach and say, possibly cult leaders are so smart that they will take the approach and say, well, that, don't look at me. I'm not the cult leader.
I am so glad you said that, because that's
Don't look at me.
It's basically what you're saying. I was going to say the exact same thing. Reverse psychology.
Reverse psychology, yeah.
Is really what it is. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was going to be, you said exactly what I was going to say. So, but I totally get that. So let's go to Caduceus on that. What do you think?
Yeah, that is a possibility to misdirect from themselves, but I don't really know how much you can grift, do with the world, do what you know is right, and what the world tells you, how to adapt. Even if you say God, it's kind of just the feedback that you get, and then you respond to it. I don't know how much you can grift that, but of course there are some other elements. He's trying to build a radio show and be entertaining, so there are some moments where people will like the provocateur thing. It'll build his following. People will take quotes out of context.
Mm-hmm.
It's a case by case basis.
Mm-hmm. David Little.
Jesse's very humble. You know what I mean? I've seen, and you get this, Tony. We've seen preacher after preacher. You more than me. have seen many examples of what a cult leader would be like, even in the Christian church, down to that, down to the telemarketer. You know what I mean? Down to the big business moguls. Yeah, we're now in the century of what we call cult of personalities. But back to Jesse, he was very honest and humble. He didn't really show a sign of it. It's just that when people look at him, they like Jordan Peterson, a lot of those guys, they hang on every word and they begin to live like his word is gospel. When he's like, bro, it's not that serious. It is serious because we serve God, but dude, don't follow me.
Mm-hmm. I want to respond to Anthony Velasquez. No, Anthony, I actually edited that 2 seconds out, just so you know. So I edited it and put the stream back up from last Saturday night. So it went back up. I think it was Monday morning. It takes a while to edit on YouTube Studios, even 2 seconds. So, but yeah, that's back up. So it's just not on there. It was a perfect edit. So, all right, well, let's go back. I got one more little clip with Jesse I do want to play. And this would be his second response to a question very similar to that. Let's go with this. They're all about 2-3 minutes. So let's listen to it and get your thoughts. Also in the chat, let me know what you think.
You asked about leader or something like that?
Yeah. Like different leaders. You're a leader in the Christian community. And I think it's the way that you present your message. To me, it's very simple. And I think it can resonate with a lot of people. So I think that's why people are drawn not to Jesse, but to your message. Because it can resonate with them. It's a simple way of understanding Christianity, understanding you're not throwing Bible verses. And I'm noticing that in the chat now. And I think somebody had said if there's a Bible verse, there basically has to be a Bible verse for everything. Now, I don't know if that's really true. So,
number one, I hope. Well, I know I don't see myself as a leader, and because when you put yourself up as a leader, you're causing people to follow you, and I don't want people to follow me. I want them to follow Christ. I want them to follow God, and that's why I'm constantly telling people what you're looking for is in you and not in nowhere else but in you. And so I don't see myself in that way, and I don't want people to see me. I'm not an authority. I'm not a leader. I'm a witness to the truth because of what God is doing through me. So I am a witness, but not a leader. Christ was a witness. He was greater than me. I'm not comparing myself to him because he had no sin. And that's why he was born of the Father, so we could return to the Father. Christ was born of the Father, not of the mother. We were born of the mother. As a result, we were born in sin. Christ had no sin. And so, and as far as Bible verses, the Bible is the word from God, but the word of God is in our hearts, in our souls. And our soul is a chip off the old block, just like it's a part of God's nature. And so, the Bible, if you read the Bible, it tells you the truth about God and where he is. And that is the beginning of looking within. So you hear that, you read that truth or you hear it, but you're not supposed to hold that in your head because it keeps you away from the truth within. We're supposed to live by the living word, the word made flesh, and that's inside of us. And it's taught to us by the Holy Spirit. And we already know it because it's already there. We just forget it when we're traumatized. And what the Holy Spirit does is he reminds you of what you already know, but you've forgotten when you were traumatized, when you turned away from the fathers.
Okay.
Because if you notice, the Bible thumpers that hang on to the word, the written word, they're emotional, they're doubtful, they're blind, their lives are difficult. They have no love. And it's because they have not entered into the kingdom. They may know the Bible, but they don't know God. They know about, it's like somebody write about you, mention you, your name. They'll know about you, but until they get to one with you, they would never know you. And so they don't know God because they never become one with the Father.
Right.
Well, is that Primal Man with the with the Jesse Lee Peterson avatar.
Yeah.
Your mama traumatized you. Amazing.
I know that last little segment might. I wasn't playing it for the Bible thumpers, and that might trigger a few people, but it is what it is. So, what are you guys' thoughts on what he said? I mean, we asked him some hard questions there about this exact same topic, and the reason I wanted to bring Jesse out to the forefront because I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of people calling him a cult leader. This is a cult. So, and I do disagree. I have spent time with Jesse, not just on the screen, but over the
actual intimate time.
Yeah, after this. Well, I don't know if I'd call it intimate.
Sorry about that. Bad poor choice of words.
But I think I had mentioned when I went to his Bond event in Orlando.
Okay.
And before the big dinner, Jesse was at the table in the front, and I sat down next to him. He was talking to somebody else, and he turned toward me, and he was first time I saw him there and talked to him, but he was overwhelmed. I could see like I've never seen him like this, just overwhelmed. And his words to me was, "Look at how good God is. Look at how blessed I am." There was like 300-400 men in this dinner that came from all around the world to fellowship and enjoy a great dinner and a great evening with the Bond event. But he just basically told me, "Look at how blessed I am. Look at how good God is." So I saw a part of him that I've never seen before, and to me that was very genuine, very authentic. So, so when we asked him these questions again, he fully explained it. So I'll go to Primal. What's your thoughts on that last clip?
Well, I'm trying to mentally picture Jesse in this interaction with you and him at the Bond, and I have a good nose and a way to pick out, unsincere people, and I could tell you that Jesse does not come across as that at all. Yeah. He comes across as very consistent. You know what I mean with his message. It's been the same thing, and a lot of people can say, "Well, I know I'm kind of speaking on a side note here, but a lot of people say, well, how did Jesse get this big following with just such a not a just a basic message?" Jesse's gained his following because he says things that people don't have the balls to say.
He makes it plain,
and he speaks things that are simple but true. I don't think Jesse's all about philosophy. I don't think Jesse's all about the mind, the head games, the intellect. Jesse's about common sense, and to me, he just doesn't come across as a cultish kind of leader. But that clip just was very nice to listen to. I noticed that me, you, and Gonzo, for the most part, the whole time he's talking, we're just grinning. I mean, when you hear the guy, you grin. At least when I listen to him, he puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really enjoyed Jesse. Great clip.
Yeah, JP says, yeah, good to see you, JP. Jesse has conviction. He speaks from his spirit. Yeah, that's key right there. That's key right there. So let's go to either David Little or Caduceus. Your thoughts on that last clip?
Genuine guy. Growing up in this Christian walk, you don't meet too many of them. Maybe you meet some, you meet a lot. You don't meet too many. Make it clear. I love this old statement when pastors say they're not spooky. They're not spooky. They're not in the spirit. He's a regular dude making it plain and simple, not throwing Bible verses to confound you. You feel edified rather than walking away like, what do I have to fact check this dude? You know what I mean? And he's a regular dude, especially him being at the Bond and seeing Tony Bruno. He doesn't know your background in church or anything, for the most part, or he'll make fun of other guys and call them sluts because slut mates because what they do, but he still will embrace him. He actually, to be honest, exemplifying what Jesus was like back then. Not saying he is like Christ or he is Christ, but that's how Christ was received back then. He could seem like a regular dude and hang out with people. He wasn't just spending all his days in the synagogues. But that's one thing I do like about Jesse, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to Caduceus on that last clip. What'd you think?
Yeah, I kind of hold the same point that I did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know the guy too much, but from what my flash judgment is that, I don't know, he's just speaking some general, like just telling people to just kind of adapt to the world, how through his message, do what God tells you. I don't think that's really that controversial or that restrictive of a message to do, and he's telling people to follow that instead of him. So if they get what they want out of Jesse, they're free to go.
Mm-hmm. And that, to me, that's the real best. That's the best thing about helping people, is that, again, we're talking about cults. Cults want to keep you in. Cults don't want you to leave. The best thing about helping somebody, think about it. Think about if, like Caduceus or David Little or Primal, you know, whether it's a guy or a woman, you talk to them, they have some problems, and they come to you for maybe some advice, or like me, again, I don't give advice, I give support. But isn't it the best thing in the world to see them succeed and move on, where they don't need to call you at midnight? You know, I don't know about any of you guys, but when I have a friend or somebody that is in need or going through a tough time, I let them know you can reach me 24/7. And I even tell them, I put you in my favorites. You know, at night, my phone is on do not disturb, which means whoever's in my favorites can call me. It doesn't matter. You know, my mom, my dad, my brothers. So I let them know that I'm available to them. And to me, that's the most important thing that you can do in somebody that's in some sort of pain or trauma, or just needs to know. I think the need to know that somebody is there to support you is almost more important than the support itself. Knowing that you can reach out to somebody. That's really, really important. And I don't think a lot of us do that. So I think that's something that we need to look more toward, is if somebody's hurting or there's an issue, you know, you can't save somebody, but you can help them save themselves. Let's put it that way. So
yeah.
You know? But yeah, and we're gonna Woody says, can I call you at 3:33 a.m., Tony? Of course you can, Woody. Absolutely. But yeah, so let's dive deeper into the cult issue. Now, what would you call? I'm gonna start with this, I guess, and you guys probably knew I was going to bring it up. I think there's cults in the manosphere. I really do.
Yes, there are.
And I think there's cults and what I would call subcults. And to me, it's almost like a pyramid scheme. Now, I do think that we have certain, we'll call them leaders of the men's community. And people really stick to their every word. But the issue is, again, I've always called it a trauma loop. You get in this trauma and there's no way out of it. There's no way out of this loop. And when you leave that cult, like I did, that's what you get. That's what you get. Let me play something here. Just, I think this is the one right here. Yeah, let me just play this real quick. You probably knew I was going to go here, but I'm going.
You gotta mess with Tony. Tony's a pretty cool guy. He decided he didn't want to play your games that hurt your feelings and you're crying.
That's cute.
And the reason I mention that is because, you know, I had some very odd feelings about that whole scene, and I saw the changes. I saw the metamorphosis of him, and because I decided I didn't want to be part of that anymore, And then there's a tactic that Rolo uses. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. Again, this isn't. We're discussing things. This isn't an attack on Rolo. It's just that it's my experience that I'm going to talk about, and then you guys can bounce off it. But what happened is as soon as I decided that I didn't really want to be a part of that, one of his tactics, and if you guys ever watched his streams, he will say that guys come to the red pill, but they really can't swallow. Of course, one of the worst things a red pill guy could be called would be purple pill, but you're going to go back to your blue pill ways. That's a tactic that Rolo uses. No, I don't go back to blue pill ways. I just don't think you're an authority. I was sucked into the bullshit, and I was the first one to admit it. Now, when somebody plasters a picture of you on their Instagram holding up the Rational Male, on Twitter, on your YouTube community, but doesn't tag you, that's pretty GAY as far as I'm concerned. Like, go ahead and mention me. It's all right. Say my name. It's cool. I'm
Put
cool.
some respect on my name.
Yeah. So
they treat people like Voldemort in a way because they know that they're just going to promote you by saying your name.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a gun.
like whatever example I thought about, like whenever I heard them talking about MD, they'd be like, oh, there's that one guy who would have streams on Saturdays.
They hate him.
They won't say the name because I think Donovan said it once, and I think Myron said it once, and it grew his channel. And Solo. They all said his name, and it grew his channel.
Well,
he was a mortal enemy, literally.
Let me pause real quick. Hey, Simon, good to see you. We're all good. Yeah, all is well. And yes, we definitely can have a second talk. You're always welcome here. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. And that's all. So it is what it is. We're men. We move on. Appreciate you.
Good to see you, Simon.
Shake hands and
oh yeah,
get a beer.
Yeah. So let's go back to what we were talking about. So all right, I want. Oh, look at this, Uncle Cults.
I love it, Uncle Guns, man. You are the man, dude.
Non solus radio sedius formida mito.
Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. That's what it basically. See, everyone who said it. Myron had them. Get muscle. Was it get muscle? Get something else. Forgot what he used to say, but he used to say it a lot. I think he still does. To get Jim do something. What was it, Caduceus?
Oh, my name's MLD, and you need to. What was it? You need to make money, build muscle, learn game.
I was like,
that's a pretty good imitation. Wow, dude, that was all right.
Yo, Caduceus is the freaking man. I swear.
I'm a man whore. Now join the hot dude army.
Oh, that's definitely a cult. That is definitely a cult, dude.
Well, let's go back to that. I want your guys' thoughts on what I was talking about Rolo and how he, in other words, how I was excommunicated, and we'll say passive aggressively too, not even in my face. If anybody wants to look back in my community, as this was a while ago, probably a few months ago, but I wrote what I called my Dear Rolo letter to him. Now, did I tag him? Absolutely. And I think even at the end, I offered to moderate a debate or whatever you want to call it with him and MD, which I think would be one of the biggest viewed.
Man, that's like World War III. Yeah.
But I think one thing is true that in a situation like that, if it ever did come up, and again, MD, if you're watching this now or in the future, Rolo, I know you're probably watching. Just kidding. But I really wish both you guys would step up. I would love to see that. I think the whole manosphere would love to see that. And I know your argument, Rolo, oh, you're just going to call me a cult leader. But as a moderator, I would make sure there's no ad homs, no talking about people's wives or anything like that. I think if we just discuss the issues, I think it would be a home run. So let's, I'd love to make that happen, and I'd love to have it here on this channel. So
for MD, it would feel like Rocky Five. Was it Rocky 6?
yeah,
No, we need a rock off between David Little and Rolo Tomasi.
Oh my God, who will out solo who? I'll pull out my. Actually, I'll throw him off and pull out my clarinet.
Oh, there you go.
You're like, what the? Like, yep.
we got a great question right here. John Steele says, when was your first time your spidey sense went off regarding Rolo? Well, really the first time. Who do I got backstage? Oh, I got Shift. Hang on, let me bring on Shift.
Nice.
Shift, welcome.
What's going on?
Good, man. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see all of you guys.
I feel a shift in the environment. Now I'm glad. I love it.
I know, that's why I picked the name. It's just
love it.
Let me address this question with John Steele. John Steele, when was the first time your spidey sense went off regarding Rolo? Realistically, it was the 21 where we were all at a cigar bar, and then the New York Times reporter came up to where we were. And then once I found out that, he had communications with her, there's, legitimate text messages. That's kind of when it went off. I'll say kind of, and I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to say, but realistically it was a patriarch convention at 21, and Rolo looked a little bit off with his kind of funky suit and his hair and just the whole scene. He had dyed his hair like light brown and kind of grew it. He's kind of balding on the top or whatever. And just the whole like kind of strange look. But I do know, and I will give him that I do know there was issues with his mom. I think his mom was in poor health. So, that had something to do with it. But probably the thing that set me off the most is when he had lied to Anthony Johnson. I was trying to get him into the 21 report with my brother. And very simply, I asked him like 3 times. And then his response to Anthony that he didn't want to wait for, it was Mike Cernovich who wasn't being interviewed. Okay. At the time, he was just waiting. He had to wait like 5 minutes, but Cernovich was not in the interview room at that point. So that's kind of when it went off, and just kind of the whole scene. It's not like I'm not a follower of anybody, but I do have to follow my own instincts. And I just felt very, very odd. It's just like what you said. It's your spidey sense. So.
Yeah, if you even read his book, like you just feel, honestly, when I read it the first time, I felt angry for some strange reason reading it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like reading this book. Like I was like, something's off right here. Then I looked at the author and I was like, who the hell is this dude? And who gives them the authority to give advice like this? I'm like, and there comes the old saying, where's the receipts? And I don't know what his receipts are, and cults are very, very enticing. It's just they're very welcoming at first. You feel like a sense of community. They're all like one together, and like the guy is charismatic. They're giving you what you want, but really these guys are predators. They're out to exploit an emotion that you feel lonely, that you feel like you need advice, you need guidance, and they exploit that to the max. And then what I've seen like in seminars and stuff, like these dating coaches, especially like RSD, you go in the group, right? And basically at the end of the seminar, they have like everyone pointing at the people that don't want to join the group or whatever like that. So and then at the end, they would like have people like rushing in to sign up their courses, which is like $1,000 or more. I'm telling you, like these guys are master, like, con artists, like.
Yeah. Well, another factor is that when we were talking about MLD, since we already mentioned him, we had a couple former clients of his that went on the MD show, and like within like they talked about how it was a scam and everything, and how they weren't satisfied with the product. And then John on his stream just doxes who they are. They're like, oh, that's Phil from DC, or that's this guy. Like instead, when they're using aliases. So that tells you something about it. When they leave, there's actual consequences. He has their address, their name, everything.
Well, I mean, don't think that Rollo promoting all the different. This is what a cult leader does. He doesn't really. I guess, does he have courses? I think his book is going to be his main thing.
He's
but I
got
think
his book.
Yeah, you can do coaching or whatever.
But he might have referral links to the other courses.
That's just it. In other words, there
Like
are.
he might say 50% if you get someone to click on this link for Hot Dude Army or High Value Academy, DMs on demand.
His book would basically be the primer.
Yeah, he's also he's going into economics. Like he's shifting with George Gammon, the rebel capitalist, as well. He's trying to expand his audience. You know, with this red pill, and then
Robert
with
Kiyosaki.
and Robert Kiyosaki is a famous grifter. Like,
oh jeez,
that guy's, and George Gammon talking with him. It's like you can't trust these guys, man. You just can't.
If he has Grant Cardone, I'm done.
Oh God, Grant Cardone, like the 10x become a billionaire. This is like selling pipe dreams, and it's like, come on, dude. Like, if you're a billionaire, you don't need anyone. You actually destroy your opponents. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So, let's get back to cult leaders. And to me, that whole scene, and we'll move on past this here in a second, but that whole scene is, again, the top of the pyramid. It's just like at the CME when they did that initial trailer. I'm going to say probably half the guys didn't realize that at the end of that little trailer, they were going to, say this is all under the guidance of the Godfather.
Yeah, that's what Myron in the ad said. He's like, we're spreading the teachings of Rollo Tomasi or something like that.
Yeah.
Holy moly. That is dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is this one person that had enough, and he has a lot of money and power, and you'll be amazed how the people even with a lot of money, they're really, really dumb with interacting with, their grift is like getting women. Some of them are just really bad, and then they listen to these guys, and then all it takes is just him being angry, and just boom, lawsuits destroy them completely. Like, it will come. Like, there's just like with the whole, like the grifting and also like the manosphere, certain parts, it's kind of like a market out of itself, right? And there's like the hype, and then there's like a big bubble, but eventually that bubble eventually crashes, and that's and then there becomes like this awakening. Wait a minute, these guys are just scammers. These guys are just grifters, and I feel like it's just getting to that point where people are finally like realizing this stuff is not working,
Yeah, and I want to go back to John Steele's point. John, I just saw that. I'll send you the link here in a second. But one of the other things was way back when I was watching one of the streams is where he had said, and I think I mentioned this before, we had said, could you imagine if they found a copy of The Rational Male in one of these school shooters' locker? And to me, that was a projection on like what would happen if that book was found and brought on like national news.
People would buy it.
People would buy it like crazy. But it was his tone when he said that, and just the look on his face. And I think the most recent one was that us talking about this now, we're actually killing men. I mean, that whole scene. Trying to think who was he talking about when he said that? I think it was the White Pill guy?
Coach White Pill.
Is that his name? The Kevin?
No, Kevin Ray Wilder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he actually did a good response video to that. I saw after that whole scene. Like, you're killing guys by not bringing them to your cult leader. So, yeah, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting though is that the first time I heard of the Rational Male book. It was from a guy in a fraternity at my school who was a friend of mine. He suggested the book, but I'm sure like it went around that circle. So like guys that stereotypically usually getting laid a lot, these guys are having struggles too. There's wounded men in those circles too. That
Oh yeah.
the rational
Yeah.
male found him. The rational male found him.
Yeah. Honestly, if
Rational
you
fail.
if you really want to know like understand how manipulation works and stuff in order to protect yourself from these cult leaders or anything in general, there's like this one book by Charles Hughes by Ellipsis Manual, and this guy's like an FB, like he was an agent basically. The interrogation techniques they use on their suspects and the level that they use, the level of like psychology in that book is just incredible, like the behaviors and all that. And then once you read that book, just to have a guide, you could see it in these guys. You could see classic examples of what they can do, and it's like, wow, they're using these manipulation tactics on these poor innocent guys that honestly don't know any better. They're just looking for help, you know.
Yeah, it's funny when you said usual suspects, and to me this kind of ties in with cults. And the quote from that movie is, what is it? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince you that he didn't exist. And right there, that is typical cult leader stuff. I mean, it really is. So,
And you notice the cult leaders always have hype-filled messages, you know?
Yeah.
Or like their sermons. Like if you look at a Jordan Belfort classic, you know, his sales meetings. If you saw like the old footage, good God, you know what I mean?
you know, I follow him on Twitter now, Jordan Belfort. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
He just married some model or something like that. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What? Getting married again? Jeez.
Yeah. And funny was, are you guys familiar with Rivellino? I think it's Rivellino on Twitter.
I've heard of the name.
Yeah, he'll like pick apart. I guess I'm trying to think of the right word, but when people will like send in pictures or pictures of like men and women standing together, and he'll talk about the body language. You know what I mean? So the one picture of Jordan Belfort and his new wife was like him around the back of her, like leaning his head on her neck.
Oh no,
almost
man!
like she just
him.
Like she's trying to get away.
Yeah, that thing where they like look at the camera and stand up straight, and then the dude's like leaning on her.
Wait, you mean the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Oh man, he got married again?
Yeah, just he's on. It's the Wolf of Wall Street on Twitter.
Isn't Jordan? That's tough, man.
I mean that's just like you realize you got fucked, and you're asking to get fucked in the ass. It's like, come on, man. It's like, come on, man.
That's funny.
Remember, his safe word is Wolfie.
He sounds like a cub right now. Like,
yeah. If anybody doesn't follow on Twitter, if everybody has a Twitter, check out Jordan Belfort and check out it's Rivellino is his name. It's actually his stuff is actually pretty good. It's Rivellino. I think I'm saying it right. Rivellino, Rivelino, I think is what it is. Rivellino. But check him out. He's got some.
If you really want to know how to be a good salesman and the tactics, like Jordan Bell, I mean, who else? The guy was literally the wolf.
Dude, he was a high pressure godfather.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best scenes. Do you guys remember when he said, "Sell me this pen"?
Yeah. And then his like his homie was like, just took the pen. He was like, "Oh, write something down for me."
Yeah.
Need a pen? And then he asked that whole conference, and no one could do it.
So, yeah. Yep. I think that was at the end where the one guy was like, "Well, it's a very nice pen. I think you'll like this pen." The guy's like, "This is a great pen," and
he just stopped them. He's like, "Okay, next person." He's just waiting for them to do that. That guy who just had the street knowledge.
and that's how he's making the money. You know, now I mean he's doing finances for major athletes and stars. Don't get me wrong, but you know, he got in trouble for the grift. But if you watch
Oh,
his,
yeah.
like his back in the day, his like the movie, like did like a snippet, you know, his freaking like speeches were ridiculous. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, I
Go ahead,
haven't.
Caduce.
Oh, my bad. Keep going,
No,
David.
no, go ahead, Caduce. You're good,
I
man.
was
You're
just
good.
gonna say I'm just on Belford's profile, and I could see with the body language, like from that one picture from January 7th,
You know which one I'm talking about. Then you're looking
by the
at it.
pool in the background.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
that's the one.
not Jordan.
That's rough. That's brutal.
I told
Not
you.
Jordy.
That is brutal. She's
I,
like
I actually
postured.
wanted to send that to the Rivellino guy and like, go ahead and analyze this one for me, will you? And I mean, I could look at it myself and go, boy, that's rough.
That's rough, man. Yeah, she's.
The guy has lost his mojo without
I mean,
drugs and stuff.
pay for if you're gonna
Yeah.
pay for someone that wants your if you're just gonna be with someone that wants your money, just get some hookers, man.
It's a done deal when you're done.
Oh, this is funny. Jack Nickelback says best scene when his friend was trying to justify marrying his cousin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That really was a good scene. What do you say? You know, well, if the kid comes out, you know, messed up, I'll just bring him out to the woods and like go
Open
ahead.
the car and say, "You're free." You're free.
The best is like when he was sitting there, he was like, yeah, you know, I grew up, you know, my cousin grew up hot, and you know, I didn't want anyone else to neighbor the bangers, so I married her. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's just no words, man.
Yeah.
Ever since you know, Goodfellas, stuff like, you know, what was the De Niro movie from the early 80s? Oh man,
Raging Bull.
no, the one after that where he was the Travis Bickle.
Oh,
Oh,
you mean
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver. Ever since stuff like Taxi Driver, what, not really a true story, but ever since like stuff like Goodfellas, where there's these based on a true story kind of stuff, where they basically Hollywood like idolizes these criminals and grifters and you know and con artists and rats, you know, and you know, ever since then it's, you know, people like who made their. I mean, look, granted, these people exist in the world, yes. You know, there was Goodfellas, there was Casino, there was the other DiCaprio movie where he was the forger, you know, with Tom Hanks.
Catch Me If You
Right. I actually met that guy here in Charleston, the real guy.
Yeah, that was like a fraud story, was it?
Yeah.
That
you
was the
know.
ultimate fraud at the end, making him think he was the ultimate grifter.
Oh, it was the best.
There was actually a good movie I watched last night I have never seen before, but it was De Niro and Pacino. And I'm not going to spoil
Righteous Kill.
That's it, man.
Oh, that movie. Oh, I'm gonna miss that.
That you know, it's from like 2008, but what a great movie.
That was intense.
I was actually like, wow, this is really, really good. So check out Righteous Kill. I don't know if anybody else seen it besides David Little?
Yo, I caught that on TBS one day and I had to buy it. It was that good.
Yeah, it actually is very, very good movie.
Righteous Kill. Okay, I'll check that out then.
Righteous Kill. And I'm not going to spoil it. I just can't do it.
Also, what's Ashley Judd is in it when she was still hot? Well, shut up, Dave.
Is that who that was?
No. Carla Gugino. I think it's Gugino. Okay. She's still hot.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a great actress. But yeah, you look at that, even down to like the movies like The Big Short, or even down to Gordon Gekko, people following behind him. Yeah, Wolf of Wall. Wall Street. They every yuppie was following that. You know, greed is good. You know.
Yes, exactly. Like and they just go in blindly and don't realize like there's more to it than just the movie. You know.
Yeah. Like MLMs and pyramid schemes, man. Like they you know, I'll not to dox myself a little bit. I talked with someone close, and you know, they were like trying to get me this business. And the more deeper I'm getting in the lessons for it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. This is not good.
Yeah, if your first instinct is like, wait a minute, something's off, that's when alarm bells should ring. You know.
Wait, so your business is selling someone else's product?
No, no, yeah, right. Oh no, you're selling to recruit other people.
Oh no.
Yes, yeah, it's one of those situations. And when I did the research on the website, now I'm like 35% in the lessons. So I felt it, as they say, I feel in the spirit to look at the website, and it like the company's only been out active for like almost a year and a half. The leads look like they're brokers, and they look like dude bros. So it was like red flags, like a lot of red flags.
Let me, Anthony Velasquez says, Tony Bruno, you grew up in New York, New York. No, I grew up about 3 hours north of there. Actually, the last place I was at was a little country house, man.
Nice.
Where I could shoot guns off the back porch and hunt turkeys, and just it was like a couple wild men with me and my buddy. So yeah, I was out in the middle of nowhere. Let's put it that way. Before I
Moonies.
here, yeah, pretty much, yeah. So, but I have been to New York City, of course. Realistically, I've only been to New York City probably, I'll say, maybe 5 times at the most. So I do remember going there when we were really young, a school trip, going to the Museum of Natural History.
That is the go-to. Yep.
I know we drove through Harlem for some reason to get there, and they were throwing bricks at the bus. But
good God.
Yeah, so I do remember that. But and I've been to New York City for court a couple times with a just say it was a big car accident that I was involved in. I was basically a witness, but I did spend some time in Manhattan, which I thought was just really cool. It was just
fast paced.
Oh, it's not even that, just the food, just
yeah.
Couldn't wait to go out for like breakfast to like these delis and stuff. To me, that was the best thing.
Yeah, the food in New York, it's hard to beat. You got everything there. Like
Yeah.
I used to be in New York. I used to live there, from the age of 5 until I moved. But the city now, it's a shell of itself. It's done. It's done.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get back into the cult stuff. That's what it's about tonight. Now there is the cult and the occult. And should I go to guns for this? I'm just wondering.
Oh boy.
All guns are listening to Led Zeppelin, so I better run out of here.
Play it backwards.
Aleister Crowley.
You have summoned.
Now the occult is really, would it be say the worship of the dark arts or the dark side? Let's just
it's basically the opposition. In a way, a lot of people, and this again, I'm only, let me preface all of this, what I'm about to say, this is only my experience and my observation. A lot of other, just like anything else, some other people had their own experiences, their own observations. So with that being said, a lot of people get sucked into it the way I did. Maybe they grew up in a religious household, or they grew up without any sort of religion, and they had a void, or they were, in my case, I was kind of just upset at the hypocrisy of watching, very religious people say one thing and then see them out in public and they're doing something completely different. I think we were watching, when we were watching, whose stream was it on, where we were watching back the preachers that got caught, it was a Primal stream. You're right.
Yeah.
So it was like, I wanted, I'm like, okay, well, here's some people who were upset. Now, again, as I said on other streams, I never believed in it because I was such an atheist back then that I didn't believe in anything. And I went into it just to see what the other side was like, because these people had as much detest and disdain for the religious institutions that I grew up in. They had as much, disdain as I did. So I'm like, oh, well, hell, they're pointing out the hypocrisy just as much as I did. I like all cults, I got sucked into a place where I felt I belonged. I felt I belonged. And, I've always been this, I rose very quickly in the ranks because I always chased things where I always admired people that had no fear. They had no regrets, no fear, no threat of, well, this is immoral, or this is this and this is that. So it was literally quite the antithesis of all the religious upbringings that I grew up with. So
Did
it
you
was,
is it more like rebellion against your religious upbringing? Do you think that's what it was?
I think so. I think so. Like I said in the comments, cults is finding people who have insecurities and who have a void, and then comforting comforting those insecurities, and then finding a way to fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
For
Hey, Primal, you still there? Primal, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You had a saying, something about comforting lies. What was that back then?
Oh, comforting lies. Yeah. I remember what you're talking about. I think it was just comforting lies. People would rather be told comforting lies than the raw truth. I think that was basically it. It was pretty cut and dry. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Guns. This is interesting. I like where you're going.
Yeah, it's no different than any other faith, as I've said many times before. I mean, the Jewish faith has its own, branches and sects. Christianity has its own branches and sects. Any other religion has its own branches and sects. So, I mean, just like the occult, same thing, no different. A lot of people are of the misconception. It's part truth and part misconception to say, oh, well, you worship the devil. Some people do. Some organizations, in fact, do. They worship the devil as a spirit, as a being, as a deity. Some people don't. So I mean, just like some people worship Jesus or Muhammad or whatever their deity of choice is, they worship that. They bow down and worship that particular deity. Whereas other groups and sects, they're more of a mindset of, I enjoy the mindset and the teachings of Jesus. I enjoy the mindset and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. I enjoy the mindset and teachings of Abraham, so on and so forth. Buddha, whatever you want to, whatever you could fill in the blanket. It's no different in the occult. It's just the opposite. They don't, were there some, did I see some weird stuff? Yes. Did I participate in some weird stuff? Yes. But it was more for the experience than anything. Were there some groups that, did bloodletting and animal sacrifices, things of that nature? Of course, but it's just, a lot of it is the opposite of, to me, in my observation, it was mostly, okay, we're willing to do this because no one else, we can do something that you can't. We can do something that you would find abhorrent. We're willing to do something that people would look at and judge. And some of the group would laugh at the fact that most people in the world would point fingers and judge. And to them, that made the people who would point fingers evil. They would say, ha, 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 your religion says not to judge, but here you are pointing in fingers and judging, and you're doing what you're being taught not to do. Ha, ha, ha. So who's the evil one now? Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up judgment, because this is one of the little clips that I have. And I had asked Jesse about this. So I'm going to play it real quick. And self-made, I did send you a link. So you're welcome to come on the panel. It'd be nice having a new face or a new avatar. Either one, you can show your face, use your avatar, whatever you want. I'm good with it.
Show your face. No joke.
So, but about judgment, I'm going to play this. Primal Man, I want you to pay attention to this too. So I asked Jesse this exact question. So
Yeah, I'm here.
Now, when you say judgment, should we judge people? Do we have the right to judge people?
We don't have a right to judge at all. We discern. We can see injustice, but don't hate it. We can see people doing wrong and whatever, but don't hate them for it, because let ye without sin cast the first stone. And there's not one on earth who has a right to do that. But we see injustice, but don't judge it as right or wrong. Then you're protected from it. But you also understand why that person is doing or what they're doing. You would see that they can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's that's my question to Jesse about judgment. I'm glad you brought that up, Guns. That was timely. You know.
Well, it was again. It's the opposite. It's doing things and practicing things that expose the dark stuff that I was into was why I get into it. They were doing things that would expose hypocrisy. That's what they lived for. That's what they really lived for. It's like, ha ha ha, you're supposed to be forgiving. You know, you're supposed to be forgiving, and you know, if I'm this bad person, why don't you forgive me? The other what was it on Primal Stream the other night? I said those of you who were there, I said some of the most vile shit I've ever. And I used to enjoy stuff like that. Okay, yeah. I used to enjoy saying really offensive, vile things.
I get you were really trying to trigger people.
Right.
I don't think you genuinely meant that, but
no. But that was
when I saw it. I think it was a clip from Pops. That's where I saw it.
Pops has got on his channel.
Yeah, but I've got two people backstage. I've got John Steele I'm going to bring on, and then I've got
John Steele.
Somebody new is self-made, and we're going to bring them both on. We're going to bring on John Steele. John Steele, welcome to the dark side.
Hello, gentlemen, and just for the record, I want to promise I'm not going to pull up my pee-pee.
Okay, good.
No windsock flailing.
And then brand new to the stream, self-made. Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Welcome.
What's up, self-made?
I know we chatted before, so I'm glad you're here finally. Awesome, man. This is cool as hell.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Good to meet all of you.
Again.
Yeah, so so I'm gonna go to John Steele. How do I put this? Did you dabble in the dark arts? Let's just say.
Well, not in the sense of being part of the occult, but I will say that I'm not a Christian. I hope that doesn't.
That's all right, man.
I'm not one either. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not a Christian. So you know, I mean, but I don't have any challenge with people who are Christians, but I also feel what you know, Uncle was saying about the hypocrisy in Christianity seems to be really endemic. You know, I admire people who can keep their faith in Christianity when they see the hypocrisy among so many of the church leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I grew up in a very Christian household, we'll say, and still to this day, my mom and dad at 80 and 85 are we'll just say they're faith-abiding Christians for sure. But they were at a point, I think, especially when I was in high school, where I like to call it hyper Christianity, as far as like wanting to burn my albums and the whole. No joke, like really, like very cultish. I mean, we're talking about cults.
Yeah.
No, and that was because Tony and I are of a certain age, so that was during the satanic panic type of stuff that was going on then.
Oh, dude, I've never heard that before. Hey,
satanic panic, yep.
The satanic panic.
No, they didn't call it. That's what they called it in retrospect, but we went through it. Yeah.
The disco is dead. Disco is like, you can't be freewheeling like that, burning CDs.
No, yeah, like when Tony and I were like listening to like Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and shit,
Yep.
like our parents
Led
were freaking
Zeppelin,
the fuck out.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were telling me because I had, of course, Kiss was really big back then, and
Oh yeah,
I've seen them a couple times, but supposedly Kiss stands for Kings in Satan's Service. Have you guys ever heard that?
I wasn't sure. I didn't know the
I don't
acronym,
think that it. I think that's someone that attached that.
Yeah,
I don't think that was their plan, but yeah.
But it seemed to work for him back then. So
well, Gene Simmons is a demon, even though he's a certified rabbi.
I've seen him spit blood from the second row.
Oh yeah.
And I think wasn't the song God of is it God of Thunder or God of War? I think God of Thunder is what he does that in.
Yeah.
That's the name of the song, where he's playing the bass and all of a sudden like blood just starts pouring out of his mouth and he has a long tongue anyways. I think best.
He was famous for that tongue. He had that fucking
but then they got songs like God Gave Rock and Roll to You and that kind of stuff. So it's like you got both sides. It's all
like what was that? They actually had they're one of the first rock bands to have a ballad. Does anybody remember Beth?
Yeah,
the drummer. Yeah. Remember Beth? That song.
In fact, that was Peter Criss who sang that song, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the drummer. I'll tell you what, I've been to. I had mentioned this a while ago on a stream, but I've been to a lot of concerts. I mean, that's what I used to do. There's so many I can't even tell you. But probably the only one I actually felt pure evil in was Gwar. Has anybody seen Gwar?
Gwar?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have. Covered in purple blood. Walking home. Walking back to the parking lot 2 miles covered in purple blood.
Yeah,
they got like the body. They got like the chest armor, and then they got like the underwear on the bottoms. And the face paint.
I told you. I think I mentioned this story before on one stream way back when, but to me it just felt really, really off. There was something about the way that people were, and just the movement of the mosh pit and the crowd and everything that was going on. I just felt like there was evil everywhere. And then there was this giant penis that came out on stage. And then of course, it's like shooting green slime all over the audience and everything. And then one of the guys has like an axe and they start chopping it up. And of course, out of the penis came it was Michael Jackson with like a bigger head.
What the heck?
I mean, that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it was, but
drugs are bad.
That's just like theater, though. Like it's not like evil. Like you're not really feeling like a bad vibe. I mean,
I felt pretty bad in that one. I'm like, there was something about it. There was just something about seeing Gwar that was not. I don't know. I just felt I felt like there was demons everywhere. I just did. So and I grew up in, and I think Primal, we talked about this before about how I've supposedly seen an exorcism before, but like when the demon leaves, they were telling us back then that it's immediately looking for somebody to go into. And that was one concert I felt like there was demons everywhere. Now I've seen Ozzy and Black Sabbath and I never felt that, but that for some reason that Gwar just was really, really off. So. But Self-Made, welcome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything to add?
Yeah, the thing, I got enticed by the occult there for a while. I was born and raised Roman Catholic. Okay. So a lot of these principles was nephew to the face of, traditional religion. But in the higher magic self, it was so easy for me to transition over there because I was a Roman Catholic, because a lot of the rituals they were doing was what Roman Catholics do. And Uncle Guns, what set of occult were you in? Because there's the different flavors for everything.
Many different sects of both Satanism and Luciferianism. And of course, when you dance with those people, you also dance with the pagans, the Wiccans, you know, the pagans, the Wiccans, the Druidians, the heathens, you know, all the you know, all the uncharacteristic, you know, earth worshiping kind of. That's mostly chicks and man buns that I found in those circles.
Yeah, well, I just want to say about like, you know, I don't believe in any of that Wiccan devil worship stuff, but I mean, I just found out like a lot of those chicks are fucking demons in the sack, you know, pun intended.
Dude,
Like,
Bohemian chicks like that, yeah.
A lot of them are fat chicks.
Yeah, no, but you got to separate the wheat from the chaff. I mean, there's fat chicks. There's fat
I'm
chicks.
trying.
Go to like a church, like a Protestant church, and it's like all fucking fat single mothers and shit like that looking for a husband. So like,
man,
no,
that's the black church right now.
Yeah, so exactly, right. So no, you go to like you know, I mean, I used to joke. I said, you know, whenever I'm like hard up and want to get laid, I just go to an AA meeting. I try to find some chick that's like it's her first or second meeting.
Fight clubbing.
Yep.
Fight clubbing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty nihilistic when it comes to that. I'm half teasing, but you know, just half teasing.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny you say that because one of the things in my notes here was like AA. I kind of consider that like a cult because
it's definitely a cult.
You are always an alcoholic. In other words, you're never out of it.
You're never free.
There's
come
no
get your chips for your 5-year.
Yeah,
that's true. But like, I will say this because I've gone back and forth with that over the years because like way back when I was like my roommate when I was like 21, he had a bad cocaine and alcohol problem, and you know, AA literally saved his life. So like, yeah, okay, there's all these. It does have a lot of parallels with cultism and stuff like that, but most people who go to AA, you know, like there's another guy that was in AA. He said to me, he goes, AA shouldn't become your life. He goes, it's a path back to life.
I agree with that. But a big problem that I see with treating addiction is that the goal is just complete like abstinence of the substance in a way, which of course seems reasonable because they got a problem with it. But most people in the real world, like that don't have problems with alcohol, they drink alcohol. Like you got to rehabilitate someone to the point where they could see alcohol and not go on a downward spiral with it.
Yeah.
And being in AA doesn't, it can get you started on that path, but like once you get the knowledge and the tools from there, you should be able to move on your own.
Right, but that doesn't mean they should ever like try to like drink socially. I mean,
that's like a trigger.
I mean, because that's
yeah,
what I call
yeah,
it.
but like that's the first step of it to first be able to stop entirely because they're at that point. But then they need to figure something else out to where they can get back to where like one trigger won't derail them completely.
Yeah, I mean, why do people still go to AA like 20 years later?
It's the sense of community.
Yeah, that's basically what. Well, the reason for AA is best I can determine is like a lot of people that are you know, have a problem, not just AA, NA, you know, any sort of substance abuse issues, is a lot of times like they don't quit until they've lost everything. Like they have no friends, at least not real friends. You know,
rock bottom.
Yeah, they're right. So their family has nothing to do with them. They, you know, so the only way for them to form healthy social relationships with people who aren't using is through these 12-step programs. So then they can be around other people who have their shit together. And some of these people have like, you know, years of sobriety or, you know, being clean under their belt. So that's what it is. And like, one friend of mine said to me, you know, he goes, it doesn't become my life. He goes, it was just, you know, I think he may occasionally go to an AA meeting, like maybe once every 6 months if he's getting the urge, like maybe if it's around the holidays, he doesn't have anything to do or something. But he goes, it didn't become my life. He goes, it was a path back to life.
Well, in that scenario, that's a good thing because like once he kind of outgrew it, it was always something he can go back to, but he didn't have to go every week.
Yeah,
that's a good thing, right?
That's
there.
I mean, let's parallel this with Christianity. when you go to AA, you have to say, my name is Joe Blow and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm going to go to Primal Man for this one. As a Christian, do you have to say that you're a sinner?
No.
I agree. In other words, you're once you've been, washed and clean, you're no longer a sinner. I think I don't want to get into a whole discussion on what's sin and what's not sin. I think vices and sin. I think one of the best people that actually describe that is Jesse. I think he talks about how people mistake vices for sin. Maybe mistake isn't the right word, but with AA, I'm Joe Blow, I'm an alcoholic, and to me that seems defeating. Why do you want to continue to call yourself something that you're not? Primal, what do you got to say about like with Christianity too? I mean, as far as like saying you're a sinner as a Christian all the time.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I think once some people like to say once saved, always saved. I wouldn't talk about the whole once saved, always thing, but we're called to overcome sin. We're called to be sin free. So when people say, well, we can't never sin, that's just, to me, that's not true. Yeah, that's unbiblical to say, well, we can't not sin. Well, yes, we can not sin. It's possible.
But I mean, he's saying like things that are our nature. I mean, we have a disposition for it. That's why we have, we don't have to burn lambs every year or something like that and climb up the hill and go, oh, crap, I just sinned going down the hill. I got to do it again next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're drawn away by our own lust. I mean, we're not, we're drawn away. Yeah. It's not that.
Well, one of the challenges, I have a lot of challenges with Christianity, but one of them is like one flavor of Christianity is Calvinism, which you were alluding to, Primal Man, with it, and they believe. Well, I'm not going to shit on Calvinists. I have
I'm just saying.
Very close friend of mine. This guy, they literally believe that, unlike Catholics, who are Catholics are hung up on. I shouldn't say hung up. They believe in free will.
Yeah,
and the Calvinists believe that whether or not you're saved is predetermined, like literally at conception, because that's when the life begins. So whether or not you're going to hell or you're going to heaven is predetermined. That's what Calvinists believe, and not all Protestants believe, not all Christians believe that, but that is something that they're on. Which to me, I could never quite wrap my head around that. But whatever. But the other thing, another challenge I have with Christianity is, if we are created in God's image and God created us, whatever flaws that you have, that I have, God gave them to me. God gave me every flaw that I have. I didn't choose any of these. He gave them to me with full knowledge, because God is all powerful and completely omniscient. So he will know. He would know before he even created me.
But do you think
what I would do?
I tend to believe that he's not going to give you anything more than you can handle. That's
well, obviously he does to many people if they go to hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
so. He didn't give them enough ability, like even your ability to believe in God, especially if you're a Calvinist. He has people, because he created the world. He created heaven and earth. So he created all this, and he purposely created people that he knew would be damned. And I'm thinking, that's kind of fucked up. So,
it makes you think. Yeah.
Hey, Primal, do you know Bible Defender 144?
Yeah, I don't think he's still here, though. I think he left.
Okay, because the guy Steven said drop a link. I don't know, Steven, does that mean you want to come on? I'm very, very leery of just dropping a link.
Oh, I know.
No PPs, Tony. Be very careful of the PPs.
I've seen Steven. He's new. He's new to my stream.
Yeah, no penis pill, please.
Wait, I don't know if that's Bible Defender.
The penis cult.
I don't think that's Bible Defender. That's a different guy, I believe.
Yeah, Steven, if you want to jump on, let me know. I'll drop the link, and I'm gonna have to cover the stream, and I'll bring you on. We got room for one more. How many we got here now? 1, 2. So, oh, you actually got room for two more.
Two more, yeah. No, Steele brings up some good points. Now, John Calvin, they came up with an acronym called TULIP. You know, T stands for total depravity, U stands for unconditional election, L stands for limited atonement, I stands for irresistible grace, preservation of the saints. So irresistible grace and total depravity are like the two things that they use to justify their predestination. Now Catholics go in there like, well, we're sanctified or justified by our works, which is completely unbiblical.
Well, no, but don't Catholics believe in both? It's not just works and it's not just faith; it's both. Like, as far as I understand, and I'm no like Catholic scholar, but
it can't be both. It can't be both. How can it be both? You know,
I don't know. I'm not defending it. I just think that's what a Catholic would say to you. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're saved by grace, then works has nothing to do with it. But the Catholics believe works has something to do with your salvation, which it completely doesn't.
Yeah, works and acts, and when you're taking communion, you're taking the body of Christ, and the blood of Christ, and when you do a confession with a priest, you are, let going of all your sins. So I mean, yeah, they tell you to be a good person and do good to thy neighbor, but what it comes down to is like, yeah, I can see the conflicting opposing views on that, but still, they're still doing it in a way to honor Jesus, and they're asking for forgiveness from Jesus.
That's it. That goes right into the whole manifestation belief. That cult leaders use these days, especially like these cult leaders use the manifestation. If you have a lot of faith, it's going to happen.
Without doing any action.
Without doing anything, it's gonna fall out of the sky. Think and grow rich. Think and grow rich.
It's
one thing. I want to ask Primal Man about this. What really pisses me off about some of these Christian sects is this prosperity gospel. I hate these motherfuckers.
Money magic.
Hey, I agree with you. Still, the churches is it's a mess, man. It's pretty much apostatized almost completely.
I mean, you look at like, since we're talking about cults, I look at like Joel Osteen. That's a cult.
Oh man,
yeah, completely.
He's the king of the prosperity gospel. That guy.
He inherited his kingdom. Though.
But Tony, like, just look at what's the Vatican, what they're promoting, right? With it says, why are you talking about this? Like, what the hell?
You talking about pedophilia?
No. You need the pass. You need the pass, right? They're promoting it. They're basically like investors of Pfizer and Moderna and all those other pharmaceutical companies, and they're promoting the pass. I'm like, what's this have to do with anything? Like, I thought your message was about God. Just mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, me with the Catholic Church. This was, again, I don't want to come down on Catholics. If you're a Christian Catholic, that so be it. That's what you choose.
No, you're not attacking the individual Catholics, but to point out of the church.
No. This is something that I saw in my observation. I was like, what is going on here?
This was my personal observation of a rectory. You know what a rectory is? Rectory is where the priests live. I have one right here at the end of my street, actually, believe it or not. I have a huge Catholic church right next to it, and the priests live there. Now, these guys will drive by my house, and I have lived here for 20-something years, and they won't even so much as look at you or wave at you, which is kind of odd. Now, many, many years ago, this was right after I was in college, and I was looking for my first construction job. I worked for a carpet cleaner, and what we did was we had to clean a rectory. Now, this was an old, big building. Probably, I can't tell you how many priests lived in this place. So now, what do you do when you if anybody knows about carpet cleaning, they have like these little Teflon pads you put underneath the metal feet. Okay, you have to like move furniture, and so I'm going to say most not all, but most of the bedrooms, and they were like these huge ornate dressers or bureaus, whatever you want to call them. And every single one, it looked just like, this is just the beginning now. It looked just like the bar at TGIF. Like just any kind of booze you wanted was there. Now, the worst part was when I started moving some of this furniture, there was, back then it was, VHS tapes. There was more porn, more porn magazines underneath their beds. And like, I would have to pick up a rag and be like, you got to be kidding me.
Ah, gross,
a little
man.
crispy rag.
Yeah. And I remember my boss telling me, like, just pay no attention to any of it, I would use like the thing and suck the rag up, you know what I mean, or whatever. But it was booze and porn in like most of the rooms. It was disgusting.
Well, I don't have any studies on this, but being in the Roman Catholic faith, I do have insight on this in the Bible, it said it's an abomination for happy people. Are you guys catching my code on that? So these guys that were an abomination joined the priesthood because they had to abstain because they knew what they were doing was a sin, so they wouldn't go through with it. I'm not saying all of them are child touchers or anything like that, but a lot of those guys that were happy people joined the priesthood so they could abstain from doing that. I have no studies on this or anything. I'm just saying, just from the priest that I had, he never touched on anyone, but he was known to be like going to gay bars and stuff like that.
I know a little bit about.
But
Tony, hold on. Let me just tell you this. My mom was born and raised in Ireland, right? So I'm a first generation American and shit. Ireland, like back in the day, Ireland was like not anymore. Now they're all like godless fucking heathens and shit. But back in the day when when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and my mom was growing up, it was extremely Catholic. Like the government of Ireland and the Catholic Church were joined at the hip. And but anyway, what they used to do is if you had a kid that was let's say effeminate, like you kind of wondered about him, like maybe he was like in leaning towards the gay end, that was the kid that they would send to seminary.
Yeah,
that was the way that's the way they used to do it in Ireland. Was if you had a son that was thinking he was a little bit possibly queer.
In his tank, we send him back to seminary.
Real quick, let me answer Jamie's. I believe that stands for that hoe over there. Thought, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thought means that hoe over there.
Yeah. Another about that same topic of the guys. Like for example, those priests in that building with the crispy rags, the crispy robes. There was a nurse practitioner that got fired from the hospital I was working at, and I was talking with another nurse practitioner. He said, "Oh yeah, this guy was bad, but he wasn't as bad as this one guy that we had. He was this former, it was a PA that used to work at the hospital system I was working at before my time, and apparently he was a Latter-day Saints bishop, so like one of those guys they confess all their sins to, Mormon." And like up in the front in the triage area where people are checking in the front, and like you see there's people in the back with computers working. They're maybe seeing patients that like walk in getting their orders started. Well, this dude's on the computers right behind where people are checking into the ER. Apparently he was watching like pornography on there.
What?
And that's what got him fired. It was a Mormon bishop too.
Well, isn't that the issue though? I mean, I think about like, and I'm not just gonna, I don't like talking about like religion, like especially like Catholicism, because I don't want to say I don't want to offend anybody, but I have not had a good experience with it. But my whole thought process on priests, you're just not made as a man to be a monk, like celibate.
No,
It
they
doesn't
should
work.
allow those guys to get married.
Yeah, and I think that might solve some of the problems with the Catholic Church. I mean, I know they sweep that shit underneath the rug all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right in the back closet.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it that Bill Burr says? Something like, oh, it's like when the killer whale kills someone at one park. They just send it to another one.
Yep.
No, actually, that's not funny. I mean, I know it's funny. Like, I don't mean that as attacking you. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, it's
that
not
was
funny that
the
it's
whole
real.
thing that came out with the Cardinal in Boston was like he himself apparently never, at least he was never accused of diddling, but he knew about it, and he had been doing this for like 2 decades. Was every time there was an accusation of a kid fucking little boy, he used to send that priest to another school without warning them or nothing, like just send him there and saying like, and they used to just do this, like sending these predators all over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know the Pope Benedict.
Yeah, that's been known in Catholicism. But when I went to Catholic school, they would send a priest that they thought or even had suspicions of doing that. They would just pass them along to another school. And I was doing cab for a while too, and I picked up a priest from a casino who was drunk, taking him back to Chicago. And the thing about it was, first thing he asked me was, "Am I Catholic?" That was, whatever. He's playing Father Flanagan with me. Now, the second thing he was he told me that he got moved to 8 different parishes. So that told me he was a diddler. In my mind, I mean, maybe I was passing too much judgment.
No, 8 parishes.
Yeah.
No, he was.
Well, you know how the last Pope before Francis, Benedict, how he resigned due to old age and like health and that kind of thing. That's not why he resigned.
No,
yeah, because that's never happened before.
He knew
cover-up.
Well, here's what happened. He knew about because I knew someone that was like one of the top like people in the prosecution when that was going after a particular bishop, and the archbishop above him was Benedict.
Yeah.
One of the guys overseeing all the bishops in the area was Benedict, and he was sweeping it under the rug. So those lawsuits were actually heading up to Pope Benedict, and I think he saw it and was like, "Oh, I need to get out."
Yeah, he had to get out of the line of fire.
I don't even think it was that he did. I think that all the cardinals and bishops told him, "You have to go," because it was very unprecedented for a pope just not to die to leave the office. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He knew about all that stuff going on if he wasn't partaking himself.
Well, no, he covered it up.
He was promoting
At a minimum,
these guys
he
too.
was covering it up.
Yeah, he was covering it up.
Yeah, we grew up with a lot of, we'll say, off-colored jokes about the Catholic Church. Like, why do altar boys have their hair parted in the middle? You guys know this one? It's okay, my son.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, another one was.
I got Tony. I'm going to interrupt you. I got a better one. What's the quickest way to get a nun pregnant?
I don't think I know this one.
Dress her as an altar boy.
Oh boy.
Why are nuns so mad all the time? Because they get none.
Well, I think one of the funniest ones was used to go up behind a guy and used to go, you know what a half Nelson is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Father
The
Nelson.
arm around the neck.
Half Nelson, full Nelson, and you go Father Nelson.
Father Nelson. I knew that one. Yeah. Father Nelson.
And those are like, I know it's so bad, but I feel sorry for Anthony Velasquez. He probably shut this stream off already.
No, but the whole thing is we're not shitting on Catholics. Like it sounds like we are. It's not Catholics, but let's be honest. The Catholic Church, come on, man, they've gotten away with some fucked up shit, man.
Do you think they stand out more? Is it I think they stand out more because they are celibate or monk mode, whatever you want to call it.
And they're the
But
biggest religion.
it's the
Most
biggest.
conformed.
Yeah, it's the biggest. I mean, isn't it the biggest church in the world? Correct.
Yeah, they're the third largest landowner in Chicago. Is the Catholic, the Vatican. But what I wanted to touch on with this is not even just that with the priests and everything, but the occultism inside each and every religion. And the Catholics are really big into occultism. I'm not saying logically they are or rationally or, you got to look at the traditions and rituals that Catholics do and that I was doing. So, you bury a saint in the backyard if you want to sell your house. If you want to make, want something to happen for you, you pray to this certain saint. Not going to Jesus, but you're praying to another entity to get that. There's a lot.
Hold on a second though. Like, 'cause I've heard that argument from a lot of Protestants. Like they would say, and I don't really have a dog in that fight, but I don't think that's occultism. I just think that that's part of that's part of the Catholic. What do they call it? The Catholic catechism. That's part of what they believe. They believe that. So you could argue. I mean, a Protestant would call that like. I don't probably what would you call that? An abomination or something that's not supported by scripture or what? Yeah, fine, but
heresy. You call it heresy.
But I don't think it's fair to call that occultism because that goes back like over 1,000 years of Catholic tradition that they've been doing that. So I don't think it's fair to call that occultism. Yeah. I get your point though. I don't mean to shit on you. But
yeah, I totally get you. But the Catholic Church adopted a lot of Roman mythos into their church. And, I have
so did Protestants, like by extension. Yeah. Like, do you know the reason why Christmas is celebrated on December 25th?
Yeah, Saturnalia.
Isn't it the winter solstice?
Exactly. Yeah, they adopted when they Christianized Northern Europe. The winter solstice, and this is the religion that I belong to. They adopted a lot of their rituals and they incorporated them into Christianity. Like that's where the Christmas tree comes from. There's no fucking pine trees in Palestine. I mean,
Now the real question was the intent to be an occult religion, or was it just to get the occult people into Christianity?
The latter.
And you see the same thing with if you go to Mexico. A lot of the Christians will have the Lady of Guadalupe, and that's a switch from the moon goddess in the Mayan culture.
Well, the whole idea of like you familiar with Easter, the Easter ritual is a pagan ritual of fertility, and that's practiced by Protestants, Catholics. You can Google this if you don't believe me.
That was Esther.
And the
Esther.
Yeah, Jay Neptune, we're not saying the Catholic Church is a cult. But it is cult-like, we'll call it. I mean, that's
with all their secrets and
that's my opinion of it. But again, I'm not knocking on.
Catholic. We're not knocking into. At least I am not. I was
raised Catholic, man. It was like, and my priests were good, but I just didn't like it and left.
Well, they were. You saying they were good? They were good in bed, is what you were saying.
Could you expound on that just a little, Caduceus, when you say good?
They were hung, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Man, and think of the black church, we had to worry about people sleeping with Brother Deacon's wife. We had to worry about.
So give us your experience.
Oh my God, you would think in church. I've seen so many scandals. Like I said, with my parents, or my stepdad, my mom, I've seen a lot. Heard a lot. Even the boy touching thing was going on with that famous pastor in the South. What is his name? He had died too.
The one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Which one is this one? I think I heard about this
name. And
I can't think of his name. He was from Atlanta, and he got at a lot of kids.
Yeah, for years, like decades. And he had passed away. They said he was living like a healthy lifestyle. And he passed away. I'm like, wow.
Okay, we have all these stereotypes in religion.
Yeah.
I want to go to Primal on this because Primal Man, why do you think we have all these stereotypes in religion when we talk about, what we're talking about now? Primal, you there? You sleeping? Got a cigar? What are you doing? I guess he's.
You know what? I think it has to do with the belief system that they have to abstain from so much, even things that come natural to us.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've seen
or Deacon Little, it could be the power.
Yeah. Usually it is the power. It's that high. But yeah, when you're abstaining yourself, like one pastor sitting in the car, he's like, I gotta watch what I'm looking at, I see all these girls. And I was sitting there like weirded out, like, wow.
But I mean, Christian or non-Christian, I don't think it's abnormal to say. I wish Primal was here. Is a good way of kind of explaining things. But
yo, I'm here. Did y'all ask for me?
Yeah, we summoned you, but it's normal. We're talking about like stereotypes in the Catholic Church and different religions.
All Christian.
It's
not just Catholic.
It's stereotypical viewpoints when we talk. We were joking about Father Nelson and things like that. But as like Deacon Little was just saying, pastor would say, I don't have to. Maybe you could explain this. You being a Christian guy, me being a Christian guy, you can still look at a woman and say she's attractive, but it's maybe I think it's how you look at her and then thinking what you'd like to do with her. Is that that's where the crossover is, or that's where you cross the line?
Hey, Tony, before sorry to interrupt you, it's like what Joseph Prince says, I can't have meetings alone with women. I have to have my wife with me, or I'll refuse taking a woman home.
That's
a Pence.
That's the Pence rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Primal, you want to expand on that a little?
Yeah. It's true what it says. It says when you look upon a woman and another man's wife, basically, or you lust after her, you've already committed adultery in your heart.
Okay.
So I think what that scripture's saying, I don't think it's implying that you've committed adultery. I think what it's.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think it's implying that, hey, the seed's been planted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not implying that you actually are guilty of the sin of adultery. It's like, hey, that seed has been planted in your heart. Be careful.
Hey, Primal Man, you want to know what that's called?
What's that?
What I was raised in the Catholic religion, that was called Catholic guilt.
Oh, God.
So, like, the Catholic guilt of if I looked at a girl and I lusted after her, I sinned, and I had to tell my priest that.
No.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, and and if you're young and you're in your teens and you masturbate, then hey, you got to tell your priest about that because that's a sin.
Oh fuck, man! You just brought back a mean memory, man.
Yeah.
No, hold on a second. All right, full disclosure, I was raised a Catholic. I remember having to go to confession, and Catholics had this thing called impure thoughts.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about? The Reformed Catholic. All right.
Yeah.
So my priest, I would have to, say, they told us beforehand, like, all your sins, and they were like prepping us, I think, to get masturbation material. And I swear to God, my priest would be asking me, like I said, I had impure thoughts, and I didn't want to go into detail on it, right? Because I'm in like fucking 6th grade or some shit like that.
And he pressed you.
And he fucking pressed me on it. Like, were these thoughts willingly entertained? And what the fuck, man? I'm like in 6th fucking grade, and this fucking old guy is probably jerking off in the booth.
That's what I was gonna say.
Dude, it was the most uncomfortable fucking thing. It was like
it's a vibration, like whoa.
No, and it was like so. Looking back on it, man, I was like, that was some sick fucking shit. I'm sorry, you don't do that to someone in I don't know how old are you in 6th grade. I don't know. I was really young.
Yeah, I want to welcome our resident Catholic, St. Anthony of Pasadena. Anthony, welcome, and the keywords not to say tonight. of course.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I did have to edit 3 seconds out of last Saturday night just
He
because.
milked the stream. I'm joking. He's cool.
So, but yeah, so you know, as a Catholic, would you consider yourself a practicing Catholic? I mean, or are you Catholic by default still, or is it something that you just were raised on and you're gonna stick to that? I mean,
Yeah, I'd be a Catholic. I'd be a Catholic if they didn't have the mandates in Mass. I would go to Mass every week.
mm-hmm.
I'm delinquent. I haven't been to confession or Mass since they shut down the church since 2 weeks to end the spread.
Okay, how
I won't do that. I won't do that.
How honest are you? How honest are you in confession?
100% honest. 100% honest.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do they ask you questions, or you just give up information freely? Like
sometimes they ask, sometimes they ask questions. Yeah, depending on the priest.
Give me a typical confession. You come in, you say, "Father, forgive me, for I have sinned." Blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah. I had a real hard one. It was real personal. I'm not gonna tell you what it was, but it was real personal. And the guy asked me, and he was like, and the priest asked me, he was kind of getting into it, and it wasn't really something I thought about. But he thought I might have a real problem with him, and like something I did years ago. I go, I wasn't really I didn't have a problem with it because it happened years ago, and I'm just confessing. I just forgot about it. I needed to confess it. But he thought it was really important. I mean, it probably was, or whatever. But he said it is what it is. I mean, dude. I mean, if anybody thinks, actually, confession is once you get over yourself, confession is not that bad. We all do some ridiculous shit, ugly stuff. And actually, when you know you have to confess something, it's actually great because then you monitor your life based on that. You never do shit that you would. I cuss. Obviously, I cuss, right? I'm okay with cussing. I can confess cussing. Dirty stuff like ridiculous stuff. I'd have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because.
Hey, Primal, are you still there? Primal?
Yeah, still here.
In the Bible, I believe there is something that says about confessing to another man.
Confess your sins one to another.
Yeah. So give us a little explanation of what that means.
It would be like if I was on this panel, say like we're all sitting together offline, we're all hanging out, every man on this panel, and I go around and I say, hey, listen, fellas, I just want to say I've done this, done that. It's a way of building. I think it's a way of building, sort of building your faith a little bit, sort of just as like in a means of getting it off your chest, but. When Catholics say, well, it means you confess to another man who mediates, who's the mediator between you and God, who can request that you're forgiven. To me, that's completely unbiblical. We have a direct communication line. We don't need to go through another man anymore. They used to have to go through men. They used to have to go through the prophets, through the temple. But now we don't have to do that anymore.
Old Testament protocol.
Yeah.
But
So
I tell you the thing about that, and a lot of people get this wrong. Number one, Christ said, "Whoever sins you forgive are forgiven, and whoever sins you do not forgive are not forgiven." That's in the Gospels. I believe it's in all 4 Gospels, but I could be wrong. could be in 3 or 4, and so that's a priestly thing, and I guarantee you, when you confess your sins to a priest, you are going to have an experience. You're going to have an experience. When I'm going to tell you, and I can, and if you're not Catholic, you can still go. You can still go to a priest, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a very interesting experience.
Well, if you have a direct line to God, why would you need the middleman?
No.
Okay,
Because most people don't believe in God.
But
you don't believe in God. Well, if you believe in God, why wouldn't you believe in a priest?
Well, this is what I'm going to say is that
that's a mess.
Why do you need that middleman? To me, it's almost like to say it to the priest is more emotional. In other words, you need an emotional release versus just saying what you need to say directly.
They think confessing is going to win them a ticket with God, and the change hasn't happened.
It's not. If you look in the gospel, it said Jesus said to his apostles, "For those sins you forgive are forgiven, and the sins you do not forgive are not forgiven." He gave it specific power to them, and they in turn give it to the priests throughout the ages. So I mean, it's not that if you're alone and you have nobody to confess your sins to, yeah, you can confess your sins to God. He can hear you, of course you can. But if a priest is there, and then believe me, I mean, anybody who thinks, I mean, I've said this before on your podcast before, but I'm telling you honestly, and I doubted it myself. I'm not a great Catholic. I'm not a great Catholic. I'm not.
Aren't you told also to? I know self-made. Maybe you can answer this one too. But aren't you supposed to do like for a certain sin you do like 3 Hail Marys, and then for this sin you do this or lights?
Yeah, it's penance.
Well, that's a penance. What they ask you for, but the thing is that the priest has the authority to forgive you for your sins. I mean, he's given the authority through Christ, down through the ages on that authority.
That's a traditional thing, though, in my opinion.
It is. But
Primal Man, from what I understand, the I could be wrong on this, but I don't think it's the priest that's forgiving you your sins. It's God is forgiving you.
God through the priest.
Yeah,
but
the priest
the point is, what's the
priest
need of
is
the
the
priest?
vessel.
You don't need a priest as a vessel.
Oh no, understand me. I'm not trying to argue for this. I'm just trying to explain the mechanics.
The concept of it.
Oh, I know why they do it. Yeah.
But it goes back down to tradition. So you have this tradition that never stopped, but then you keep walking up the ladder. This is why Roman Catholics have statues in a church. Back then, no one could read. Only the rich or kings could read. So they had to tell the stories of all saints.
Not only that, only the rich could have books, man. They didn't have a printing fucking press.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so none of these people, the only thing these people knew was they had these imageries that they said, they gave them the stories and they point them out. And that's where you get the statues from inside the Roman Catholic Church. And that's a tradition, too, from all the way back then.
Now,
I mean, there's a reason why the Protestant Reformation didn't take off until Gutenberg, invented fucking movable type.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, there would never be a Protestant Reformation if it wasn't other motherfuckers were allowed to. Excuse my
It was only supposed to be a debate. That took off on its own.
Yeah. Martin Luther didn't, when he went on his drunken rant and nailed those 95 theses to the fucking church door, he didn't want to start his own religion per se. He just wanted to fuck that nun. Which I don't know if everybody knows about that. He fucked that nun. He got her out of the nunnery so he could bang her. Like that was his real motivation. Martin just wanted to get laid, man. I mean that's how the whole Protestant Reformation started, man. Martin Luther wanted some pussy.
You know what's interesting though? As we're talking about this, I was thinking about the main topic. That's what a lot of these cult leaders thrive on, getting personal information to leverage over you.
Yeah.
I noticed that's a big one that they use it for, to emotionally manipulate you or to use you or like to tear you up like what MLD would do.
Well, a lot of cult leaders too. I mean, from what I can see growing up, like one of the things was to have like a lot of women.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why Rolo's not doing that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Rolo's like the worst cult leader.
He's the worst cult leader. He should be getting a lot.
Even his wife won't fuck him. You know?
He should be getting a lot of punini, but he's getting.
Yeah, you gotta Charles Manson that shit. Get some dicks all around you.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Rolo's like the worst cult leader, man. I mean, no one wants
to
fuck him.
Say that to him because you got a book on game, yet you got to game your wife. What? It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Now my perspective on the cult, and this is a lot of the ways that the occult or occults get you reeled in, is, you have to do like, okay, let's take Scientology for example, right? Now, when you go into Scientology, you have to tell them, they'll ask you repeated questions like, have you ever killed anyone? You say no.
No, that's right. Actually, that came out where they were keeping the files on people.
And that's the
files, man. Yeah,
that's the best
J.
way.
Edgar Hoover shit. They were doing J. Edgar Hoover on motherfuckers.
And that was the best way to keep the people in line. Like if you said, "Hey, I'm gonna leave this," they're like, "Well, remember, you said you had sex with your sister, or you had sex with an animal. Now you're not leaving."
Or
but
you cheated on your taxes, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, how Scientology really got started. It started with Jack Parsons, one of the creators of NASA from Jet Propulsion Laboratories. He was in the OTO, had his sex magic parties in his mansion in California. And then his roommate that just came along out of nowhere was L. Ron Hubbard. Now, here's a black pill.
And Isaac Asimov, they got together.
Yeah,
Isaac Asimov was in on that too. Where anyway, go ahead. I won't ruin it.
Yeah, and then they go into it, and we can get into the black pill moment of this. Is they're doing a Babylon ritual to try to bring on the Antichrist, right? Him and L. Ron Hubbard are banging this redhead. I can't remember her name. So in the end, she got pregnant, or she had an abortion. But then L. Ron Hubbard stole Jack Parsons' boat and his wife. Because Jack Parsons was selling boats on the side, making more money, not just doing the NASA thing. He was doing that too. But the black pill moment is he took his wife and ran with it. Now, a lot of the doctrine, and a lot of people will fight me on this, but a lot of the doctrine from the OTO, which is Aleister Crowley, who was in contact with Parsons, comes from that. L. Ron Hubbard just made it into weird aliens, but a lot of it's the same thing. I know that lodge, the OTO, and I'm telling you, it's the same principles. They're not as in tropic of like getting all your information, you know what I mean? But like how they were.
And this is Scientology, right? Is what you're talking about?
And everything that he's telling you is true.
Yeah, I'm going all the way back to Aleister Crowley.
It's true. And this is all true because all that happened, and that happened, and the institutions that he made are right here. Caltech, JPL.
Yep.
It's all there. All these things are right there. They still exist right to this day. To this day, they exist right now. You can see it right now.
And even in the OTO,
they're, but now, well, that's a weird thing. I'd say this. I'll tell you. I mean, even though that's all true, everything is true. But
now in the OT,
but actually, we're actually better as a society. We're better because it did that. I know that's going to sound crazy, but we're actually better because they did that. We have Caltech. We have JPL. I mean, I don't know what Jack
Parsons, to make a rocket ship take off.
We wouldn't have that without fucking Scientology. I don't buy it for a second. But
not with Scientology. I'm saying they stole the principles from. Scientology stole the principles off of Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons made the rocket ships with a 5-pointed star on the end of them.
Right,
That's why they took
we
off.
would still have the rocket ships without all the fucking bullshit. Is what my argument is. But
Yeah,
whatever.
and
I think we kind of like went like really off the fucking deep end here. But whatever.
Well, no, this is how occults work. This is what I was
that's a cult. It's a cult. Well, yeah. Scientology is a cult. Scientology is a big time cult. But it came off a thing.
The movie
it came off a legitimate thing.
Into Scientology, right? That's Tom Cruise and those guys, correct?
Yeah.
Travolta.
But I mean, that's how it started. That's how it started. Through like JPL, and all this shit, and they're connected to Caltech. They are connected to all that shit. It's all right here. It's right where I live. It's right where I live.
I don't doubt. My argument is simply that all those technological advances would have happened whether or not these people had these weird proclivities to wanting to start a fucking cult.
But do you think
maybe not. But I mean, sometimes good shit comes out of bad shit. You know.
You think these movie stars are just poster boys? Are brought in, paid to promote this cult or this?
Well, L. Ron Hubbard actually wrote about specifically why he wanted to recruit
these guys,
movie stars, because they were literally recruiting. They were poster boys, like you said, Tony, like literally poster boys. That's where they went out and they converted them to their belief, because they knew that other people, like it used to be back in the day, literally people would sign up to Scientology because you wanted to get cast in a movie. Like it was one of the worst movies ever made, Battlefield Earth with John Travolta, another Scientologist, and all the actor. No, the movie was so. And actually, the novel is actually not that bad, but the all the actors were Scientologists. And literally, the starving actors joined the cult of Scientology just to get fucking cast in a movie.
But we're talking. But
John, do you like how they spun the story with L. Ron Hubbard? You know, like they went into he was involved with a satanic occult, and he saved this girl, which was Jack Parsons' wife, trying to make him look like the hero on a hero's journey. He was a part of it. He was doing the rituals. Aleister Crowley told Parsons, get rid of him because he's going to do some damage. And he did.
A lot of what's written about Crowley is disinformation.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
A lot of what Crowley is a poster boy, basically, not to pun, but I have to. He was basically, Crowley is like a sacrificial lamb. He's like the one
he's
everybody.
A whipping boy. They
described
everything to him, and there was a bunch
exactly.
of other guys
it was him. It was this guy. It was he's the root cause of it. And again, it's there for people who don't know to again point fingers at and say, oh, it was this guy and he orchestrated everything and he's the puppet master, and it's not really true. He's one of the biggest grifters in the occult.
Yeah, he is. But what do you think about his reverse sigils against the Nazis? Because he was big with the MI5.
Well, he's the one that made a lot of people believe that sigils were a thing. Like he made people. He convinced a lot of people.
No. Austin Osman Spare made sigils. Everyone thinks sigils were real. Now
I'm saying as far as like you know, things that went on in the cottage and that whole, you know, the OTO thing, a lot of it was him convincing people that stuff was real so he could grift them of their money, and that's exactly what he did.
And he died, and he was a dandy. Well, how did a Spare put it? He's a dandy, a high magic dandy that smokes opium. And really, and that's what it comes down to.
All those guys were grifters, LeVay and all of them.
Oh yeah, man, Anton LaVey. It wasn't even about worshiping Satan. It was about worshiping yourself. There is no, that was that whole grift on that. But like I was trying to say before, the OTO doctrine was in the, one of their ritual sayings is, "We still want our boat back." From L. Ron Hubbard.
Hey guys, I don't know what kind of conspiracy you guys are thinking about, but I gotta tell you one thing.
Be careful.
I'm not gonna get crazy. I'm not gonna get crazy. I'm gonna tell you something about
keep off grass.
Caltech. Caltech originally was a Catholic school.
Yeah,
I can prove that. If you want, I can go walk the fuck down there and show you some statues on that. That's what it was started with by the Catholic Church, maybe or the diocese or whatever. But it's a Catholic it's a Catholic university originally.
But
I can prove it.
My main point was
I can fucking walk over there and tell you. I can think. It's so. I mean, it's not now. No, it's totally atheist now, but it was originally. Yeah.
So you get all these people that hand you over their secrets be it a priest, Scientology, or the occult. They have these secrets on you, so it would be hard for you to leave. That's what I'm trying to say, Tony. So that's the first attack on you. The person's charismatic. The people that are in the, getting involved in this are lost people, so they're looking for a leader. So let's look at Rollo now. So Rollo has this group of lost men that are looking for answers, which he isn't giving them any answers, but pay me money, buy my book. Here's my other friends, the Vultures. Power of Law 7 of Vultures, which he's very big in 48 Laws of Power. So it comes down to it. And then look what they do in their private groups.
Wait.
Okay, so in their private videos...
Whoa, dude. What are you talking about 48 Laws of Power?
No, I'm talking...
Rollo didn't write 48 Power.
I know he did.
He's not, Anthony. No, he's not saying that he wrote 48 Laws of Power. Rollo repeatedly references that.
Yeah,
he's a big proponent of it. So yeah,
who is it? Are you not? Are you not?
Anthony,
are you not? Have you read it?
I'm not manipulating. I'm not manipulating people to go do my bidding.
Wait, hold on a second. Are you disputing the 48 Laws of Power?
I'm not disputing it.
So what the fuck are you saying, dude?
I'm saying
you're not even a fucking person. I don't even see your fucking image.
Anthony,
you're a piece of shit. You know what, dude? I get fucking tired of these motherfuckers. They don't even show their fucking faces, and they want to talk a bunch of bullshit.
Hey, you want to see my face?
You know what? I want to see your face.
Go to my page, self-made. You'll go even find my real name. I really don't care.
You know what,
Anthony?
Tony, I don't know why you don't pull these guys.
Chill out.
I don't know why you don't pull these guys. These guys are fucking full of shit. These guys are so full of shit. They're so fucking weak. These guys are so fucking weak.
Anthony, chill out.
These guys are so fucking weak. Yeah.
Chill out.
What?
Chill out.
Yeah. Guys are so fucking weak, dude.
It has nothing to do with anything we're talking about.
Yeah, dude. They're so fucking weak, dude. They talk a bunch of shit. They know nothing. They're so fucking weak. They don't show their face.
Anthony.
They're so fucking full of shit, dude.
So
fucking full of shit.
Chill out.
Yeah, just show me. Just close me off, dude.
Chill out. What he was basically saying was, and this is a fact, that Rollo basically
I don't even care about that, dude. These guys are so fucking full of shit, dude.
Care about it. That's what we're talking about. I'm trying to explain to you what he was saying.
You don't have to explain to me. These guys are fucking pussies, dude.
Come on, dude.
You don't have to explain a pussy to me. I know what a pussy looks like.
I know what Primal
These
Man.
guys are all pussies, dude. All these guys. You know what? Actually, all these guys. Why don't you just show your face? What are you, so fucking ugly? You don't. You're scared of people showing.
This isn't
I mean, look at me, dude. I probably know more people than Tony Bruno would know my face, would know me, and you guys are fucking so full of shit. You guys are a bunch of pussies. All of you are a bunch of fucking pussies. I live in California. Let me tell you my address. I'm at 677 South Marengo.
We don't want
to. Come on down, baby. Come on down. Come on down. Don't worry about it.
Stop.
We'll just fucking fight, dude. We'll just fucking fight. Fist.
Nah, we don't want to fight. And you know
what? You don't want to fight because you've never fought. You never fought. You never fought anyone. Maybe you fought your mama. You fought your mama, you big fucking pussy. All y'all are pussies.
Stop.
Go ahead, come and see me. You can't even afford to come here.
Stop.
Bunch of pussies. I don't know where you live. Bunch of pussies. You're all a bunch of pussies.
This isn't fight night yet, Anthony. Now stop.
100% pussies.
Who was
100% pussies. 100% pussies.
Fight night.
All of y'all pussies. You want to talk shit, but you're all pussies.
Tuesday night.
You're all pussies. 100%. Oh, go ahead. Come and see me.
What did
I'm
I
right
walk
here.
back into?
I told you my address. I literally told you my address. I literally told you my address online.
Where does this hate come from?
Come and see
Anthony,
me, baby.
where does this hate come from? I'm sincerely
Well,
curious.
you see that. Come and visit me, and you will see the hate comes from.
Wow.
Come and see me, baby. Come and see me. You'll see the hate comes from.
Your face.
Conversation's been hijacked.
Yeah,
Look,
Tony, you got to get control of this shit, man.
Come and get control, baby. Come and get control.
Anthony, it's all right.
You ain't coming here. You're a pussy.
Anthony,
Every one of you are pussies, and you will never come here.
Anthony,
I'm sorry.
Let it be.
And okay.
Let it be.
It's never gonna happen anyways, right?
Yeah.
Never gonna happen.
So don't worry about it.
Yes, I'm never gonna worry about it because it's never gonna happen.
Hey, you're
bunch of pussies.
You're acting like
just talk.
Now. Are you trying
you
to
just talk?
Are you trying to start a cult, Anthony? Now stop it.
Yes, I'm going to start a cult. The cult's called "Don't Be a Pussy." That's my cult. It's called "Don't Be a Pussy."
Emmanuel.
Do not be a pussy.
What did I miss? Well,
a lot.
Conversation was going somewhere, and all of a sudden, bam! I was like, "What? What's going on?"
It's after dark on Thursday night.
Yeah. Good call.
Dude, is there like a full moon out or some shit? Like, what the fuck, man?
It's not even dark. I get tired of these guys talking about stupid philosophy they don't believe.
Yo, Anthony, man, I got nothing but love for you.
They don't
You may hate me, you think I'm a pussy, but I got nothing but love for you.
You don't believe shit.
I got nothing but love for you.
I don't even care. I don't care what anybody says. No one believes shit. No one's going anywhere. Tony lives in Florida. Who knows where the fuck all you guys live? You don't have any fucking balls to. Who cares? We could talk a bunch of shit. Who gives a shit? We're so far away from each other. It doesn't even matter. No one gives a fuck, and that's why. But if you were here with me, or here with Tony, and you want to talk that bullshit, I guarantee your mouth would be fucking smacked, and you don't give a fuck. You know, and so all this talk is bullshit, and that's what I fucking got. I almost get sick of it. I don't want to. I almost don't want to do this. I almost don't want to do this shit anymore because you guys are all full of shit. Because if I was in your fucking face, you would not talk shit. You would not talk shit.
Peg says Anthony.
Peg's like, whoa, hey, shout out.
You know what? You know what? I'm actually getting mad at this shit. I'm really getting tired of this shit. I'm really getting tired of this shit. I mean, I consider you guys friends, but you talk shit. And you're not here, and I'm getting fucking mad.
Okay, Anthony. So what?
To be honest with you, I would rather you not insult me personally, or even like challenge or whatever, because I'm getting mad. And there's guys. You know what? I just would rather not do it. because I consider you guys friends, but you guys insult you guys insult like you're personal, like you're here, and you're not, and it's disrespectful. It's just disrespectful.
So what triggered you on that?
I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this whole fucking venue. I don't nothing against Tony Bruno. He's not taking. It's not him. It's not anybody. But damn it, guys. You know, it's like you want to talk shit. I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
Well, nobody's talking shit. We're having a conversation, Anthony.
Now we're not having a conversation. People are insulting it like it's personal, and I don't like it.
It's personal.
Like it.
How's it personal? Tell me, is it to you? Is it
I don't like
personal?
it. But if you were here, if you were in my face, you would never say that. What you guys say it to my face, you would never say it to my face. But you say it to my face because you act like a kid, but you act like you're brave. But you would not be brave to my face. You would never, ever say that to my face. You would never say it to my face, and you know you wouldn't. And because of that, when I respect you, because I don't say that stuff, but you don't respect me or any other person because we're so far away. But I guarantee you, man, that's just not respectful. And so I don't know how this works. I don't know, but to me, we've become too personal. I can't handle it, and I'm not going to talk to you guys anymore.
Uncle Guns?
I do love you, and I do bless you. But I'm just not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna do it anymore because it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I think you guys are pussies. I think you motherfuckers are pussies. I think you fuckers are pussies.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not gonna say anymore.
Guns?
I'm not gonna engage with the guys anymore.
Okay. Guns?
But I think you guys are pussies.
Sorry,
To
Uncle
me,
Clark,
you guys are just pussies. I'm sorry.
What you got, Tony?
What the hell was that?
Primal Man, could you like do an exorcism? Because I
what was going on there?
I don't know. Anthony gets a little upset at avatars, but what he doesn't understand is pretty much most everybody backstage too will cam up, which is no big deal. And I do respect people that have an avatar because, showing your face, it is what it is, but your voice here, I'm a facilitator of conversations. That's kind of what I like my channel to be. I'll give my opinions here and there, but everybody's voice is valuable. It's more valuable than your face as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's all well and good, Tony, but let's be honest, the guy was drunk out of his fucking mind and is completely incoherent.
Too many cervezas.
I think he was kind of confused with a situation that may have happened earlier today, because that's what it sounded like to me, and he was just associated to the situation. He's a good dude, he definitely is a good night's rest. He definitely
I just said 48,000 power, and he just triggered.
Yeah, he went crazy. I don't understand why he's.
He says, "Don't shit talk him." He's gone and can't answer. That's all right. We're just.
No, I'm not shit. The guy is a severe alcoholic. Anyone that would let themselves get that shit faced and show their face, go on a stream that anyone in the world can view, is either really stupid, has really poor boundaries, or is just a complete psycho. Or maybe all the above.
Yeah,
well, I get why people have avatars too. A lot of people want their anonymity, so I mean, that's all good. On mine, you can follow my name on YouTube or IG. It's the same name, and you can see what my real name is. I've been doxxed before, and from the MLD camp, I think it was, but I really don't care. I've never hidden my name or my face, but I know why a lot of guys do because they have careers.
Like there's a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I don't do it is because there's no upside to doing it, and there's a huge amount of downside for me in the situation I'm in.
I do like this statement. Not everybody can afford to risk their status. If you want to see an honest man, give him a mask. And I think that holds a lot of truth right there because what it does for people, the bit of anonymity, I guess you would call it, really does. It's gonna, it's sad we're in a day and age where we have to protect identities. It is.
Yeah, I mean, now more than ever. I mean, cancel culture is off the fucking charts, man.
Yeah, and that's just a fact. But I don't think that I'm not the kind of person that's going to cancel your voice because you don't have a your cam on right now. But also, like I say, like when we're backstage and and Caduceus will cam up and all these guys, like JP, he never cammed up until one stream where all of a sudden, boom, there's JP. He's like, fuck it. But I respect that. But I also want people to know that when you're backstage and you cam up, man, your privacy is safe with me. And anybody that will defile the sanctity of backstage, you will be on my shit list forever.
Excommunicado.
Oh yeah. I have a very particular set of skills, and you will find out what they are.
Set of skills.
Well, I mean, if somebody did do that, that's a form of doxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody that comes on here more than you guys know. And again, backstage, when guys do cam up and we have this conversations, that's great. To me, it's important to me because you know what you're saying. Okay, I trust you, man, and nobody's going to screen record or anything like that. If I ever find out somebody did anything like that, man, like I said, you're going to be on the shit list from hell.
Exactly.
You think the occult is bad? You have no idea how bad it can be.
To get to the Bruno shit list.
Yeah.
Leather coat, no.
Oh yeah, I'll put the leather coat on. Anyone will know. So.
Now once Tony found out,
like dossier saying shit, Tony shit list.
and then once Rosebud finally told Tony he was white, now it's even got more.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I found out I'm white on the stream. I mean, who knew?
His soul confirmed I was white, so it's bad enough.
Oh yeah, that's right too. Yeah, I think you were kind of white on that stream too, David.
Oh man, solo TV.
So I got a question. Get back on topic.
Yeah, let's do it.
About cults. What about? I find like other stuff can be kind of culty.
Yeah.
There's always this Ford versus Chevy, Coke versus Pepsi. My football team versus the other football team kind of thing. Apple versus Republican. Mac and what's that?
Democrat, Republican.
Right. I mean, it's like people that are like all in. They don't even want to hear any other side of the story.
Well, it's like the saying goes: when the talking stops, that's when the shooting starts.
Well, I think that I don't know if that's culty. I think that just speaks to the inherent nature of human beings being tribal.
Yeah, tribalism.
That's what I was going to ask. Is do you guys think tribalism, like Uncle Guns is saying, do you think tribalism and occultism run hand in hand?
No, I think that human beings are, how do I say it? That we are, that's innate, that's immutable. Human beings are pack animals, like the same way dogs or wolves are. We're pack animals. That is how we've evolved. Occultism is, you could argue, it's an exploitation of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can still remain tribal and not have occultism. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
One of the main points, I mean, my research, of course, when I think of a theme for a show, I always do some research, and it seems to be the common theme that what defines a cult is a specific leader. There's always a cult leader. I mean, that term right there.
Cult of personality.
Yeah, cult of personality. Exactly. But that seems to be the defining characteristic of a real cult. Is
like you need permission from that. Sorry to cut you off. The permission from that leader. Like I ran into a situation where I made a decision. This leader was like, well, why did you tell me that, why did you put it through me? I'm like, why should I have?
Mm-hmm.
That's a grown man decision. Why am I clearing my lifestyle or things through you. You know, it's another cult tactic. They try to govern your life, you know, as you can say. But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, guys.
No, that's good, man. I appreciate that. But that seems to be the defining factor. Now, things are cultish. I mean, you know, I guess growing up, yeah, I've had my favorite football teams, basketball teams. Everybody wears the jersey, you know, and is that considered a cult? Not really. I think when we get into cults, I think that the defining factor is going to be there's going to be a leader, and then there's going to be the issue that you can't leave. Like you can, you know, you can like the Miami Dolphins, and then they lose the Super Bowl, and you can say, "Fuck it, I'm Tampa Bay now."
Yeah, you fair-weathered fuck.
Yeah. there's no penalty though. In other words, you know, like what's his name? Dan Marino's not going to come to my door and be like, "What up?" You know. So
we have to have a figurehead, is what you're saying, Tony.
Yeah, I kind of really think that's one of the defining factors. And
that's a good point though, Tony. You're kind of saying that like let's say sports ball, like you're in a pact, but it's not a cult, right? You can come and go, and like no one's got like secret files on you, or
here's a good one.
It's not like the Scientologists where they got the fucking J. Edgar Hoover files on you. You know,
this comes back. Not to you, John Steele. This comes back to mind when I hate to say his name, Kevin Samuels. When people would, lapse on their Patreon memberships, you had to send him a written explanation to why your Patreon was done or why the circumstance of Patreon.
No shit.
That is cult-like all the way.
Getting information.
Yeah. Anthony, I'm going to tell you something. I love you, brother, and you will never be blocked from this channel. Just know that. And you know what that means, okay? That's between me and you. That would never happen. You're allowed to say what you want. You had a disagreement. It's okay to disagree here, but you know it's not okay to agree to disagree here. So I do appreciate you. And no reason to apologize here. We do, you know, I appreciate you saying that, but we don't have to do that. I mean, I threw a shout out to Simon from last Saturday night stream. And, you know, again, I'm not a big Discord guy, but I reacted versus responding. And I think that's a big difference. We all need to make a distinction between responding to somebody. I think a response is more planned and you actually have time to think about it, where reaction is just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, you know, instantly. So, you know, let's all, we're not all perfect. So
yeah, I got nothing but love for him, man. I got nothing but love for him.
Absolutely. And again, you will always be welcome. In fact, if you guys, anybody watching too, you want to see a stream, we did a stream, just me and Anthony last year. And it was all about Anthony. It was actually kind of fun. He went into, I guess we would call it Back to the Future with Anthony Velasquez. And it was just a lot of fun. I wanted to bring him on as a special guest, and so people could get to know him, but he's a regular here, and we appreciate you. And that's it, my man. No more needs to be said. Appreciate you.
Hey, Tony, in T-minus 8 minutes, this is the last 8 minutes. I'll be 39 years old.
Oh, dude. Happy
birthday, man. Big 40, man.
Turning 40. Yeah. Getting old, man.
Happy birthday, man.
Hey, thanks. I'm looking at the time like, oh, God.
No, sincerely, happy B-Day, bro.
Yeah,
man.
Hey, man. I crossed the threshold.
Next year, I'll be 60, so.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, Tony, you're oh, my God, man.
I'm joking now.
Tony, like, so what was it like? No, I'm serious, like, because, you know, you're going to be 60. So what was it like when you had to run away from dinosaurs? Like, could you tell us, like, what was that like?
Well, I had to use a lot of spears. So
Tony's like Doc Brown.
Let me tell you something, guys, which is I mean, this is a straight up fact. At 59, I feel absolutely I've always heard, you know, when I was in my when I was in my 20s, wait until you get 30. When I was in my, eventually time will catch up to you, but there is absolutely nothing I don't do physically anything than I was 21. There is no difference.
Nice.
I don't have any aches and pains. I did not make a deal with the devil. I don't have like wrinkles all over my face or anything like that. So I think a lot of it has to do with genetics. I've had pretty healthy parents, but I think about that number myself and I'm like, boy, that's weird. But as far as like my physical being, I don't feel anything different. I truly don't. Nothing at all.
Well, the one thing I noticed, like when I hit 50, is I can no longer fuck 12 times in a row. No, I mean, I used to be able to do that, like literally, like fuck 12 times in a row. Like there was no, what do they call refractory period? Like that's what I loved about like when I was 18. Like, I mean, my dick just never got soft. It was great. I mean, the only reason I stopped, I probably could have went more, but my girlfriend said, "Get that fucking thing away from me."
At 35, I've noticed like I'm 42 now, but when I was 35, I couldn't drink like I was when I was in my 20s. That hangover would last 3 days. 3 days, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always try to look for like what's different about me, and to be honest, I can't find anything yet. So
I love the terminology that's used and associated with birthdays. Like when you're under 10, someone asks you how old are you, like a grown up asks you, how old are you are. Well, I'm 7.5 and I'm going on 8. And that's the key thing. I'm going on, I'm going on. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. And then, and then the big one comes around. You become, that's the word they use. You become 21. I become 18. I become 21. So you're even in your teens, you're kind of hopeful and optimistic. Well, I'm gonna be 16. I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna be. And then you become 21, and then all of a sudden, but you turn 30. You turn 30. It makes you sound like spoiled milk.
Have you ever noticed that, like, women now, I mean, like, you'd ask a parent, be like, how old's your kid? They'd be like, oh, I'm 3 months old. Now it's like, oh, they're 64 weeks. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
What I mean? And then, like, what do you, like, I can't understand that new concept on that. I don't know if my brain is that old.
I'm seeing women my age. And I mean, I'm overweight, and stuff, but I still look relatively young. And I just compare myself like, wow. Like girls that have been drinking or 40, good God. You know what I mean?
Well, it seems to hit them a lot harder. Black don't crack, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, into like when you're like your 80s, we're like limping around, but we still kind of hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think one of the manosphere terms is that men age like wine, women age like milk. I don't know what you guys think about that. I think it all depends on the woman, all depends on the man.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
men hit the wall
true,
same.
like when women, like when they get menopausal, like there is some realities with that. So. When a chick's in her mid 40s, like they do tend to kind of start to go down, unless they can afford a lot of plastic surgery, kind of all of a sudden go downhill really quick. But, I've dated, like the last chick I was seeing, she was in her early 40s and, she was a gym rat. So, she was fucking hot, so, I don't know. I think it's like, lifestyle choices, because there's a lot of guys who look like complete shit, who are like in their 30s. So,
yeah. Peg has it right here. Carpenters just keep going on until the job is done. That's right, Peg. Absolutely.
Rode hard, rolled up wet.
Yeah, I do go to work every day, and I'm sure I've got another 10 years before I don't know if I'll ever stop working, because what I've noticed about people that retire, they seem to die earlier.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. People, I've watched people I know where, I'm going to retire when I'm 50. Then do what? Do what? What are you going to do? Sit around? You can only play so much golf. What are you going to do? And I've seen people just get old. I know guys that are still on the job that are older than me, and it's like they just keep going. And it's I think it's a good thing. I think that
look at like Warren Buffett. How old is that guy? Isn't Google how old that motherfucker is? He's gonna keep working until he dies, and he's
got to be 90s, right?
Yeah, he's never quit working. He's like, no, I'm not gonna quit. He's like, I loves what I do.
He's gonna die like Vince McMahon would in the ring or behind the gorilla position.
Yeah, even my dad, he still cuts hair every day, but he's 85. He mows the lawn and just constantly doing stuff. It's that
reminds me of Clint Eastwood's character in Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? Like that was like the that was like he was like the ultimate guy of like he just like he didn't give a fuck. He just kept doing his regardless of his age, he just kept on going.
Yeah.
He got a little more cultured, the situation and cultured him a little bit more. But he passed down some good values to that kid in that movie. That is a really good movie that still don't get its due.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a great movie. A lot of really good. I also like the fact that like, he, the last scene when he dies, like he didn't bring his gun. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He said that like, no, I'm gonna go. This is because he remember I think he had a cancer or something. Like he knew his time was up, right? So he said, all right, so I know I'm gonna go out, but because he was a soldier, he was was a badass one. He goes, no, I'm gonna go out, but I'm gonna save someone because I'm gonna, he kind of surrendered his life so the kid, whatever his name was, could live. I love that movie. It got a great fucking message.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go back to age too. The only thing that I've noticed is I have to wear 1.25 reading glasses for something to be crystal clear, especially when I'm working. But that's it. I mean, I can see, from 100 yards away, I could see a fly on a signpost. So, I think genetics and more of at least a semi-healthy lifestyle is gonna.
I think it's mostly genetics. I think it's mostly genetics.
When I hit 60, I want to be like Tony.
Yeah, I feel good, so I don't have any issues. I do, like I've told everybody, if you don't go to the doctor, like go once a year at least. I go every 6 months for blood work and a checkup just to monitor. That's it. So, and somebody had asked me, they don't want to find out if something's wrong, and I'm like, wait, why wouldn't you want to find out?
I want to feel like an invalid, stuff like that.
It's not like I have a fear of dying. I just don't. In other words, I want to know what my PSA is. I want to know how my liver function is, how my kidneys, my cholesterol, and cholesterol. That's a whole nother scene.
I think what it is too. Some guys. I think it was with me. I was afraid it would limit me to what I can do. Like I know I could do a lot of stuff, but I know if I go to the doctor, it feels like they're gonna cut me off from doing certain things.
Yeah, here's like Peg. Yeah, she was on. She's been on before, but like she said, she has a farm, and she had lost her husband. I think a few years ago. She had come on a stream this past year and talked about it. But that that farm life, that keeps her cranking, man, for sure, absolutely. And I have no clue where I get all my energy from, but I got a shit ton. That's one thing for sure. So
I still think it's mostly genetics, Tony. I really do.
I'm going to bring on a special guest here real quick, and there he is, Anthony.
Anthony is back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're gonna wrap it up here shortly, anyway. So, any Any final words, Anthony Blasquez?
No. I just you get pissed off sometimes. What can you do?
That's all good. You know you're my brother. I ain't going to block you. You know that, right?
Oh, you might. One day you might.
No,
one day you may.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. And you know why? You know why? You know why? Because you know our past. So, so that'll never happen. That'll never happen.
Yeah, but you can't tell these people that.
Yeah, but
they, if you tell these people what the connection, we can't legally we can't say that.
It's none of our business, man. It's between you two.
Yeah, that's right. It's none of your goddamn business. Better shut up.
Oh wow. But let's. I'm going to go around the panel real quick. I'm going to start myself. Yeah, tonight was about the cult, and I think we broke down some really cool things about the cult, and then we ended up talking about the occult. But I think there's, I think it was John Steele made a great distinction about like tribalism and a cult. So I think we're all probably on agreement, maybe that a cult will have a leader, and you are scorned, or something happens if you try to leave. So I think that's the main characteristic of a cult. But this was fun. I really appreciate everybody. David Little, any final words?
Final words are: watch out for those grifters out there who sell. The one tell that I've noticed with a lot of these cult leaders, they'll tell you some form of "I love you," unwarranted, scary stuff. You gotta be careful. It's so bad now, guys, that I don't know if everyone's watching on YouTube. They got these MLM commercials going on. That's a cold cult in itself, man. So everybody be careful for these people. They are emotional shysters. Live your life. Keep your BS meter on at all times. Stay on your six.
Mm-hmm. And then Uncle Guns.
Non soulless written. No, I'm not even going to do it again. No, I mean, forget all of it. I mean, a lot of us here will tell you, those of us that have been involved in dark things or anything, it doesn't even have to be dark. Anything in your life, whether it be a divorce or bad parenting or bad friends, bad foods, anything bad, where you look at it and you had a bad experience, it's okay. It's going to be okay. You got sucked into something and you learned from it and you moved on and now you're a better person for it. And, my advice is don't get sucked into anything. Try to make the best decisions possible. Get around people that, want to build you up rather than, take things away from you. If your primary doesn't fire, tap rack, realign the sights, press the trigger, carry 2 tourniquets, and that's all I got.
I love it, Guns. I love it. I love that sign off, man. That's fantastic.
No horse shit, Guns.
Yeah, never any horse shit, David. Happy fucking birthday, brother.
Yeah, happy birthday, David Little. Absolutely. So, look at this. Tom and Jerry. Hey, good to see you. That's awesome. Yeah, we had a little back and forth today in the comments. That's awesome. Good to see you, my man, for sure. So let's go to John Steele. Any final words?
Yeah, I would just say on the note of we were talking about religion, for me, religion is to deal with the unknowable and the incomprehensible because they will always be both in your life. And whatever vehicle belief system you have to deal with that, fine. Just don't let it cloud reason and empiricism.
I love it, man. Thanks, John Steele. Always a pleasure having you here, John Steele. I love it. Always good back and forth, man. One thing I like about John Steele, you don't back down to anybody, and that's awesome. Appreciate that about you. Let's go to Self-Made. First time, man. Hey, and I'm glad to have you here, bro. I know we've been chatting back and forth on IG, but yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you could join us. And of course, you're always welcome back. So any final words?
Thank you, everyone, for having me on the panel. Happy birthday, Deacon Little.
I appreciate yourself, mate.
You know, I just wanted to like kind of piggyback off of Uncle Guns. You know, you might get sucked into some bad things, but coming down to it, mind what anyone is trying to perpetuate onto you, or that you can't take introspectively and take in, and like not knowing that you're being grifted when it comes to like a cult leader. You know, when it comes down to like occult leaders like Rolo, I'll call him a cult leader. And the reason why I call him that is because he's got all his minions doing all his dirty work, coming on here trolling, coming on other channels trolling. It's a big group. They shame, they dox, they do all that stuff. And I'm glad here in this space, we don't have to worry about that, because there isn't a cult leader. This isn't an occult.
That's right.
And that's what all I have to say, man. Thanks, Tony. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. And Anthony Velasquez, any final words, my man?
Yeah, man. I'm sorry I got a little out of hand there, and I'm sorry I may have messed up your last stream because of the topic. I didn't know. I actually didn't know about that. Yeah, man. I one of the things that I guess we have. I mean, maybe just I'm saying we, but I'm saying maybe me is we're all across the country. I mean, you live in Florida, I live in California. We're so far away from each other. There's no, even if we have a beef, you couldn't come to me anyways. You couldn't beef anyways, physically. And I just get emotional because people talk like they're right in front of each other, like they're mano y mano, and you want to talk big shit, and I hate it. I hate that. I really hate it. And I don't know how we can close this shit up, close it up. And not that I want to beat anybody up or anybody wants to beat anybody up, but it's just like, I want to have respect for men. I just want to have this respect. And I think that's a real problem with this whole this format. It's a real fucking problem, man. People don't want to show the goddamn face. Well, hold on a second. Let me show my fucking face. Let me show my fucking face. But people don't want to show their face, and they want to talk a bunch of shit.
Self-made shows his face. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, and
hey,
I just get
like you, man.
But at the end of the day, we're so far away from each other. Does it really matter? It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it shouldn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Our argument can stand on its own. Our intellectual argument for whatever we say, we don't need to fight. But it's just that people become disrespectful. For me personally, I just feel like it's like, God, man, like, dude, you wouldn't say that to me in my face. Why would you say that to me online? But I know that. But you don't have to. You don't have to answer for your bullshit. But I don't know how we. I don't know how we correct that shit. It's a problem.
But
it's a fucking problem.
We correct it. We have conversations and we talk about it. That's it.
No, dude. That doesn't. I don't know that it hasn't corrected it yet, bro. Hasn't corrected it. And for me personally, it hasn't corrected it.
Anthony, when was there ever a time that any of us could talk? You being in California, I'm being in Chicago, and everyone else everywhere else.
I'm just saying the disrespect. The disrespect. It's like, I don't disrespect you guys because you're from wherever the hell you are. I don't respect Tony Bruno. I'm saying, hey, Tony Bruno, I'm gonna go fuck you up. Like, I don't ever say that, but people talk shit, and it's like, dude, it's like, I'm here. Dude, I don't disrespect you guys. But people disrespect me. They disrespect opinions like they're gonna kick my ass, but they can't.
Can you?
I mean,
give us
I
some.
don't know.
Give us some words of positivity or something from the scripture to walk us out tonight. How about that?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Wow. I'm drawing a blank, but I'm gonna wing this one. I'm gonna wing this one big time. You know. Oh wow. Okay. So if you guys haven't watched the latest uh podcast from the MM Fire dude. I think you know who he is. But anyways, we had an interview with Jordan Peterson. But anyways, one of the things he said, one of the things they got into was the Israelites being bitten by the snakes, and then the solution was Moses put up a stick with a snake, and if you looked at the image, you wouldn't die, and so that's kind of the image of Christ. I don't know if that's positive or not, but go watch that. Joe Rogan. Go watch the Joe Rogan podcast, last one. I'm not giving you a positive message. I'm just saying, if you go watch that, it might be a positive message for you.
That's actually that's what I'm going to watch tomorrow or listen to.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
I watched it today. Really good.
Spotify. I believe it's 4 hours long too. So
it's 4 hours long.
That's my
It's actually pretty good.
I'm not a big Jordan Peterson fan. I mean, I haven't really watched much of him, but
nobody likes the lobster.
I'm interested in just getting to know him a little, and I think Joe Rogan always does a great job of bringing out.
Actually, you know what? Honestly, it's pretty damn good, and that's from a Catholic perspective. It's pretty damn good, honestly. I watched it today. It's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to play it on out. I appreciate everybody coming on the panel. Of course, Caduceus, Primal Man. Who did I miss? Shift, of course. The guys all left a little early, but I guess Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise, I'll see you guys Saturday night on Get It Off Your Chest, and that's a show where you can come on the live panel, hopefully without showing your pee-pee, and get it off your chest. I still like to keep that format open, and I think, in fact, Self-Made, you were the one that told me to cover the screen. I don't know why I never thought about that. So.
Yeah, yes. No more PPs, Tony. Come on.
Put your logo up, and then let the videos, start, and then then you can suss them out. Because then if they're not talking to you, you already know that if they're not talking. But then if they do start flashing, they're not flashing the whole public, and you don't have to go back and edit that.
Yeah, the first time I tried that was last week. It worked good because I've never met Simon before, and then once he started talking, Primal Man, he whatever verified him, so we were cool. So, but we'll see you guys Saturday night. Peace, much love, honor, and respect, everybody. Gonna rock and roll on out of here Saturday night with the Saturday night. Get it off the chest. Happy birthday, Deacon Little. Peace.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
40 years old.
Adopted the dark. I was born in it.